Coffin, red dress, beautiful girl. For a moment, everyone was stunned. Could it really be that Yun Chujio was resurrected? After the red-dressed girl came out of the coffin, she actually slowly walked towards old Master Yi. Her manners were myriad, and every step was like a lotus. It was indescribably noble and elegant. It was as if the fairy of the 9 heavens had descended to the mortal world. Old Master Yi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. Although he already knew that this was a play designed by Yun Chujio, when he saw the red-clothed girl slowly walking over, his eyes still welled up with tears. He was wrong. He had thought that the land girl's daughter had a temperamental temperament that was more like a country bumpkin, and less like a first-class family's daughter. At this moment, it looked like even the first-class family's daughter might not be able to catch up to her bearing and nobility. This great-granddaughter would definitely be the most dazzling heaven's favorite in the immortal Yuan continent in the future. Yun Chujio walked in front of great-grandfather Yi and bowed. Great-grandfather, little Jiu is unfilial. I've frightened you. Great-grandfather Yi's hand trembled slightly as he supported her. It's good that you're fine. It's good that you're fine. Yi Binji's eyes widened. My goodness, this little Jiu really knows how to put on an act. She's too beautiful. Yi Bingying's body swayed on the verge of collapse. Her mind was blank and her face was as pale as snow. Yun Chujio actually didn't die. And she actually became so beautiful. This was impossible. This was impossible. At this time, everyone came to their senses. There were all sorts of praises and surprised voices. An old man said, "Old man Yi, quickly ask this little girl what's going on. How did she come back from the dead?" Yes. Yes. What's going on? Everyone chimed in one after another, their hearts practically dying of curiosity. Only then did old Master Yi ask, "Little 9th girl, didn't you die of a sudden illness? What on earth is going on?" Just as old Master Yi's words fell, Yun Chujio's eyes rolled and she actually fainted. Everyone was in a flurry again. Right at this moment, Yun Chujio suddenly stood up to meditate, and then someone cried out in surprise, "Look! That little girl's spiritual power level is changing. Heavens! She actually rose from the first layer of the Ling Xian realm to the 3rd layer of the Ling Xian realm. Could it be that she had an epiphany? Oh right, wasn't there an old man's voice earlier? Could it be the messenger of Tian Dao? You're right. Wasn't Yi Bingyu the favored child of Tian Dao previously? Not only did Tian Dao save her, but he also gave her an opportunity." Just as everyone was discussing, Yun Chujio opened her eyes. Everyone was surprised to find that the little girl's temperament was different from before. If she was graceful before, she had become playful and cute now. The little girl looked at everyone blankly, then threw herself into the arms of great-grandfather Yi and cried, "Sob, great-grandfather, I thought I would never see you again. Sob, sob, I thought I was going to die." Although there were no strict rules like the 7-year-old difference between men and women in the Immortal Essence continent, great-grandfather Yi was still very embarrassed by Yun Chujio's pounce. He could only say dryly, "It's okay. It's okay." Yun Chujio cried for quite a while before she stopped crying. Great-grandfather Yi was forced by everyone's curiosity and could only ask again, "Little Jiu, what exactly happened? How did you come back to life?" Yun Chujio pouted. "I don't know either. I just vaguely felt that someone was calling me little sister Jiu. I tried to open my eyes, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't open them. At that moment it was as if an explosion had occurred in my mind, and then I didn't know anything." When everyone heard Yun Chujio's words, they immediately made guesses. Yun Chujio must have woken up after hearing Yi Binji's shout. The explosion later was probably the old man's voice that we heard. Also, her performance now is completely different from before. Maybe she just received the heaven's gift, which is why her bearing is so noble and elegant. Yes, what you said makes sense. Her spiritual power has increased by 2 levels. She is indeed the favored child of Tian Dao, a person with great fortune. Sometimes, it was more effective to say half words or vague words, because people's imagination was very strong. Very soon, most people looked at Yun Chuzhou with burning eyes. What did the favored child of Tian Dao mean? It meant that this little girl would have a lot of opportunities. It meant that this little girl's future was limitless. Therefore, some madams immediately surrounded Yun Chuzhou. Some praised her beauty, some praised her cleverness, some praised her filial piety. In short, they were all flattering words. Yun Chuzhou was a long-sleeved good dancer. She was best at dealing with people. Her small mouth was as sweet as honey. Instantly, everyone was overjoyed. They felt that this little girl in front of them was more likable. Yi Bingying was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She wished that she could immediately rush forward and tell the truth. This Yun Chuzhou was a liar. She was not seriously ill at all. She had fallen into a volcano. However, even though she had been blinded by jealousy, she did not dare to really say it. If she did, old Master Yi would not let her off. The expressions of Gushi and Lu Shi were also very ugly. Yun Chuzhia's current performance was equivalent to giving them a hard slap in the face. Especially when Gushi had just said that Yun Chuzhou was a good-for-nothing. In the end, she had become the favored child of Tian Dao. Min Shi was both happy and worried. She was naturally happy that Yun Chuzhou did not die. Their second branch had a powerful helper. She was worried that Yun Chuzhia's resurrection this time was most likely done with Yi Bingyi's help. Gushi and Lu Shi would definitely take revenge on their second branch. Old Master Yi stroked his beard. Although he was angry that he had been deceived, he had to admit that this little girl was really good. After performing this resurrection from the dead, she completed a perfect appearance. In the future, when the people of the eastern continent mentioned Yun Chuzhou, the first person they would think of would definitely be Tian Dao's favorite. The heavenly thunder spirit was originally her disadvantage, but now it had become her advantage. The funeral definitely could not continue, but the banquet still had to be eaten. Everyone drank heartily, and it was very lively. A certain Jiu, who was supposed to be dead, shuttled through the crowd like a small fish. Everywhere she went, there would be cheers and laughter. Yi Bingyu, who was pulled by her side, almost had a stiff smile on her face. However, she knew that Yun Chuzhou had good intentions. This was a good opportunity to show her face. Everyone's impression of Yi Bingyu was also very good. She was a girl who valued friendship and loyalty. Moreover, she was a legitimate daughter-in-law of the Yi manor. This was a good candidate for a future daughter-in-law. Min Shi saw all of this and made a decision in her heart. She decided to accept the method Yun Chuzhou told her to break out of this situation. Regardless of whether Yun Chuzhia's spiritual power was strong or not, with this intelligence, she would definitely become a heaven's chosen in the immortal Yuan continent. Birds would fly far away with phoenixes and phoenixes. It would definitely not be wrong for Bingyu to follow her. Some were happy, while others were angry. Gushi and the others forced themselves to exchange pleasantries with the crowd and even went against their hearts to agree with the words of Yun Chuzhou and Yi Bingyu. They were so aggrieved that they wanted to vomit blood. After 3 drinks and 5 dishes, everyone stood up and took their leave. Great-grandfather Yi glanced at Yun Chuzhou. This fellow followed great-grandfather Yi into his study. Great-grandfather Yi slapped the desk. "Little Jiu, how dare you?" Yun Chuzhou bared her white teeth. "Thank you, great-grandfather, for your praise. Actually, I'm very timid. You don't know that when I fell down, I thought I was dead for sure. Sob, I thought at that time, I haven't been properly filial to you yet, and am actually going to die. I really can't die in peace. Stop talking nonsense. Tell me what exactly happened. When old Master Yi heard the first half of the sentence, he was so angry that he glared at her. However, when he heard the last half of the sentence, the anger in his heart immediately disappeared. Yun Chujio immediately explained the story that she had prepared. In order to prove that what she said was true, she even went to the courtyard and took out the three-eyed purple-tailed iron-clawed eagle. Great-grandfather, look, I'm not lying to you, right? I heard that the skin of this thing is a good material for making boots. I'll give you a pair of gifts when the time comes. Fortunately, the three-eyed purple-tailed iron-clawed eagle was big enough. Otherwise, it would not be enough for this product to send gifts. Great-grandfather Yi took a closer look. There were indeed many wounds on the three-eyed purple-tailed iron-claw eagle's body, and most of them were burn marks. They were consistent with the fire-eating shio that Yun Chujio had mentioned. Although great-grandfather Yi still had some doubts in his heart, he had already believed 80% of it. He sighed in his heart. This little girl was really blessed. Not only did she not die when she fell into the volcano, she even got a great bargain. Then why did you hide in the coffin and play tricks? Did you teach the ice feather girl what she said? Don't you know that Gusher and Bingying made a fool of themselves, and our Yi family also lost face? Old Master Yi asked with a frown. Great-grandfather, I was forced to do this. You already told the public that I died of a sudden illness. If I suddenly jumped in, wouldn't it make your face look bad? As for what Sister Bingyu said, I was indeed the one who asked her to say it. However, I wasn't the one who asked Grandmother Go and Sister Bingying to slander me. They can only blame themselves for not being able to keep their cool. Great-grandfather, not only should you not blame me, you should also thank me. Sister Bingying is proud and arrogant, so she should be hit a little, otherwise, I'm afraid there won't be any big developments. Yun Chujio said with a smile. She knew in her heart that she was now the Yi family's movable sign. Old Master Yi wouldn't really punish her severely. Humph. Glib tongue. Don't think that I don't know about your little schemes. Gusher and Bingying were indeed a little stupid, but if it wasn't for you setting a trap, they wouldn't have embarrassed themselves. Seeing that you were frightened, I'll let it go this time. If there's a next time, I won't let you off lightly. Do you hear me? Yes. Great-grandfather, don't worry. There definitely won't be a next time. Yun Chujio thought to herself. HMPH, if Gusher provoked her again, it wouldn't be as simple as letting them embarrass themselves. Old Master Yi asked for some more details before letting Yun Chujio go. The next morning, Yun Chujio and the others sat on the flying spirit tool again and returned to the academy. Housekeeper Fu was supposed to escort them. However, Housekeeper Fu suddenly vomited and had diarrhea, so Yi Yuanliang had no choice but to let Deputy Housekeeper Lu escort them. The flying spirit tool once again flew to the place where Yun Chujio fell. Yun Chujio looked out of the observation window and thought to herself, that fire-eating shio is probably still cursing me. Just as Yun Chujio's thoughts were running wild, she felt the flying spirit tool tremble violently. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. 3 Masters, this flying spirit tool has some problems. There is a patch of grass in front of us. Let's land first. I will bring some people to check it out. I think it will be repaired very soon. If it is a big problem, I will call out another flying spirit tool. It will definitely not delay the 3 Masters' journey. Deputy Butler Lu wiped the sweat on his forehead and said. Yi Wenhong frowned. Why didn't you check when we set off? Forget it. Anyway, we've already left the Skyfire Valley. There shouldn't be any danger. Let's land. Yi Wenhong was the oldest, so he made a decision. Yun Chujio and Yi Bingyu naturally couldn't object, so the flying spirit tool landed on a piece of grass. Everyone got off the flying spirit tool. Deputy Housekeeper Lu brought people to check the flying spirit tool, while Yun Chuzhou and the other two were casually looking at the scenery. Yun Chuzhou frowned. This grassland was close to a dense forest. If there were people hiding in the dense forest, it would be very difficult to find them. In addition, housekeeper Fu was sick, and there was something strange about this flying spirit tool. Could it be that Gushi or Lu Shi were stupid enough to want to kill her now? Thinking of this, Yun Chuzhou said to Deputy Housekeeper Lu, "Time is tight. Stop checking. Just summon another flying spirit tool." Deputy Butler Liu's eyes flickered. "Miss, I've found the problem. It'll be fixed in 15 minutes. Besides, the speed of the other flying spirit tool is not as fast as this one. It's better to wait for this one to be fixed." Yun Chuzhou was now 90% sure that there was something fishy going on. The only thing she was not sure about was whether Yi Wenhong knew or not. "Cousin Wenhong, what do you think we should do if a group of people comes out from the forest and wants to kill us?" Yun Chuzhou stared into Yi Wenhong's eyes and said worriedly. Yi Wenhong smiled. "Little Jiu, you are too daydreaming. Our Yi family is a first-class family. Who would dare to make a move on us? Don't worry. If someone really comes to kill us, I will protect you and Bingyu." Yun Chuzhou saw that Yi Wenhong's eyes were clear and there was no ambiguity in his words. It seemed that he did not know about it. It was just that those people would not kill him. Moreover, it was because Yi Wenhong was also on this flying spirit tool. Even if something happened, no one would suspect that it was Gushi or Lu Shi who did it. It was really a good plan. "Cousin Wenhong, come over here. I want to talk to you for a moment." Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes to let Yi Wenhong close to her ear. Yi Wenhong did not understand what was going on. He walked up to Yun Chuzhou and when he heard Yun Chuzhou's words, his face immediately turned ashen. He was just about to speak when Yun Chuzhou said something again. Yi Wenhong snorted coldly and stood at the side without saying anything. Yi Bingyu did not know what had happened. She tugged at Yun Chuzhou's sleeve. Her relationship with Yi Wenhong had always been good. As Yi Wenhong was a boy, he had always been taught by Yi Yuanliang and the old master. Fortunately, he did not grow crooked. He still took good care of Yi Bingyu. Yun Chuzhou only smiled at Yi Bingyu and did not say anything. Yi Bingyu had already turned from a violent little lion into a little sheep. Therefore, when she saw that Yun Chuzhou did not say anything, she did not dare to ask further. At this moment, dozens of masked men suddenly rushed out from the dense forest and surrounded Yun Chuzhou and the rest. Other than Deputy Butler Lu, Yi Yuanliang also sent 10 guards to follow them. Those guards immediately protected Yun Chuzhou and the other two in the middle and confronted the masked men. Yi Wenhong's eyes flashed with disbelief. He glanced at Yun Chuzhou who had a terrified expression on her face and looked at the masked men with a complicated expression. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Everyone, what do you mean by this? We are all members of the Yi family. Have you eaten the heart of a bear or the courage of a leopard? Deputy Butler Lu said loudly. One of the masked men snorted coldly, "It's your Yi family that's being robbed. Don't worry, our target is only that Yun Chuzhou. As long as you hand her over, we will spare your lives. Otherwise, all of you will die." How outrageous. Cousin Miss is a member of our Yi family, why would we hand her over to you? Prepare to die. Deputy Butler Lu said as he rushed towards the masked man. Unfortunately, he was knocked down to the ground and tied up in less than 10 moves. Yun Chuzhou sneered in her heart. Acting should be more professional. As the deputy butler of the Yi family, would he be so impulsive as to go up and fight one-on-one? Moreover, was it necessary for him to be so useless? The masked man said viciously, "If you don't want to die, then obediently hand Yun Chuzhou over to us. We have more than 3 times the number of you. If you persist in resisting, only death awaits you. I can go with you. After all, I have always been the most self-sacrificing person. I can't implicate them because of me. However, I want to know why you have captured me. Yun Chujio asked with a faint smile. The masked man obviously didn't expect Yun Chujio to be so calm. He paused for a moment, then, he said, "It's very simple. Aren't you Tian Dao's favorite son? My master wants to taste the taste of Tian Dao's favorite son. If you serve my master well, maybe he will reward you as a concubine." You motherfucker. Little Jiu, don't be stupid. Let's rush out. Yi Bingyu shouted angrily. Yun Chujio looked at Yi Bingyu with satisfaction and then smiled at the masked man. TSK, I'm afraid your master will be disappointed. Your acting skills are really too clumsy. Cousin Wenhong, come over here for a moment. Everyone present was a little dumbfounded. Yun Chujio's words did not make sense. Was she scared silly? Yi Wenhong's expression was very complicated. He gritted his teeth and walked in front of Yun Chujio. Then, something that shocked everyone happened. Yun Chujio actually took out a large kitchen knife and placed it on Yi Wenhong's neck. Yi Bingyu cried out in shock, "Little Jiu, are you crazy? Idiot! If you don't want to die, come over. Protect my back." Yun Chujio glared at her. Yi Bingyi's body obviously reacted faster than her brain. She subconsciously formed a defensive stance with Yun Chujio's back to back. Housekeeper Fu, who was tied up, shouted loudly, "Miss Cousin, what are you doing? Are you crazy?" Yun Chujio revealed a mocking smile, "Deputy Housekeeper Lu, is your master old Madame Gu or my Aunt Lu sure?" Housekeeper Fu's pupils shrank. "You, what nonsense are you talking about? The Yi family is extremely indebted to you. You actually want to kill young Master Wenhong. You are simply unscrupulous. TSK, you speak as if you're a human. Enough, in front of me, your acting skills are insufficient. Be it Gushi or Lu Shi, you don't want my handsome cousin Wenhong to lose his life, right? If he were to suffer even the slightest bit of injury, I'm afraid that your family members would all die." Yun Chujio said mockingly. The masked man and deputy housekeeper Lu, who were in the lead, revealed a look of panic in their eyes. The 10 guards of the Yi residence were clearly a little dumbfounded. What was going on? Yi Wenhong saw the expressions of the masked man and deputy steward Lu and closed his eyes. He did not argue or struggle. It was clear that he had accepted his fate. Yi Wenhong recalled what Yun Chujio had said to him before. "Cousin Wenhong, I'm guessing that there will be people rushing out from the jungle in a while. Moreover, as long as you give me your names, I'll let you go. Sigh, it's not that I'm being petty. Those people are most likely grandmother Ge or Aunt Guess people. Cousin Wenhong, don't be anxious with me first. When the time comes, you'll cooperate obediently and let me kidnap you. You'll be able to understand." Although Yi Wenhong knew that Gushi and Lu Shi usually acted in a petty manner, he never dreamed that they would want to kill Yun Chujio. There was no need to look for any evidence. The performance of these people was enough to prove that the person behind them was either Gushi or Lu Shi. Yi Wenhong sighed in his heart. Regardless of whether it was his grandmother or his mother who did this, they were really muddle-headed. Fortunately, little Jiu was vigilant. Otherwise, if he really killed her, his great-grandfather probably wouldn't spare them. "Cousin Wenhong, now is not the time for you to sleep. Tell them to leave. If they all leave, I won't mention anything about today's matter to anyone else. If they persist in not coming to their senses, then don't blame my cousin for being ruthless," Yun Chujio said coldly. "All of you, leave. Regardless of whether it was grandmother or mother who instructed you, I will give them an explanation," Yi Wenhong said dejectedly. For a moment, the masked man and deputy butler Lu were at a loss. They had thought of many possibilities, such as Yun Chujio being unwilling to let the flying spirit tool land, or she was struggling with all her might. But even in their dreams, they had never thought that it would actually be such an awkward situation. The guards of the Yi residence had now come back to their senses. In their hearts, they hated Deputy Butler Lu to death. Damn it, so it was all his doing. If they were to succeed, the guards would not be spared from punishment after they returned to the residence. Moreover, these people might even kill them to silence them. Just as the guards of the Yi residence were fuming with anger, they heard Yun Chujio say, "I know you are innocent. Protect us well. I will protect your lives." The guards were still uncertain. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, they immediately grabbed their life-saving straw and eagerly protected Yun Chujio and the other two. With the protection of these guards, it was basically impossible for the masked men to save Yi Wenhong. Yun Chujio asked Yi Bingyu to summon her flying spirit tool. Under the cover of the guards of the Yi residence, the group boarded the flying spirit tool and left. Deputy Butler Lu, who remained in the same place, was both angry and afraid. He cursed, "Damn it, why aren't you releasing me? The old madam won't forgive us for failing the task." The masked man said in a bad mood, "You still have the face to blame me? Since you know that stinky girl has a lot of bad water, why don't you isolate the eldest young master?" The eldest young master is the same. He was actually kidnapped so easily. He's really, really unlucky. While the dogs were biting each other, Yun Chujio had already released Yi Wenhong from the flying spirit tool. She said with a smile, "Cousin Wenhong, I'm really sorry about what happened just now. You won't blame me, right?" Yi Wenhong smiled bitterly. Although his talent was not as good as Yi Bingying's, he had been raised as the heir of the Yi family since he was young, so he could see through many things very clearly. Little sister Jiu is extremely intelligent. Grandmother and mother are absolutely not your match. I only have one request. If one day they fall into your hands, can you spare their lives? Cousin Wenhong, your words are so meaningless. I'm not a big devil. Why would I kill grandmother Gu and aunt for no reason? Instead of making a promise to me, you might as well persuade them not to kill me anymore. I'm so timid, but am very afraid, Yun Chujio said with a faint smile. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Yi Binji's eyes twitched at the side. Damn it, don't joke around. You're the only one who's timid. You dare to use a large kitchen knife to force Gushir's neck, you dare to snatch food from the fire-eating Shio's mouth, and you dare to play tricks in the coffin. If you're timid, there's no one in this world who's brave enough. Yi Wenhong's face stiffened, and he said dryly, the next time it's time for a break, you'll persuade them. Little Jiu, what are you going to do about this matter? Although Yun Chujio had promised not to mention it to anyone, it was obviously not possible. After all, there were still 10 guards from the Yi residence. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall, and they would be exposed sooner or later. Sigh, Cousin Wenhong, I really want to hide this matter, but am afraid it's not possible. How about this, I'll do you a favor and you tell Aunt about it. Whether it's what she did or Grandmother Gu did, push the blame to that Deputy Butler Lu and the masked leader, and then kill them to silence them. This matter will not be traced back to them. Yun Chujio picked up a spirit fruit and said to Yi Wenhong as she chewed on it. Yi Wenhong suddenly stood up. Yi Bingyu, who was at the side, suddenly became nervous, but Yun Chujio did not care at all and continued to eat the fruit happily. Crack, crack. Yi Wenhong let out a long sigh and sat back in his chair dejectedly. Little Jiu, you are indeed, Yi Wenhong really could not say the ruthless words in his heart. Little Jiu had only used the people behind the scenes to kill Deputy Butler Lu and the masked leader. If one wanted to say ruthless words, it should be the culprit behind the scenes. However, she was so decisive and shrewd at such a young age. How could his mother and grandmother be her opponent? If she made mistakes again and again, she was afraid that she would only end up dead. Sure enough, what? Sure enough, she is ruthless. Cousin Wenhong, being merciful to the enemy is being cruel to yourself. Today, I did not blow up the matter because of you. Otherwise, it would not be a matter of two small lackeys dying. Yun Chuzhou threw the fruit core aside, she leaned back on the chair and said faintly. Yi Wenhong nodded with a complicated expression. Little Jiu, you don't have to say any more. I understand. I'll do as you say. Very soon, the spaceship arrived at the outskirts of Tianluo City. The 10 guards of the Yi residence looked at each other. They were really uncertain. This young lady said that she would save their lives, but after hearing this, the person behind this assassination was actually the old madam or the first madam. Was there any way for them to survive? At this moment, Yun Chuzhou waved at them. You don't have to return to the Yi family for the time being. I will tell great-grandfather that you will follow me from now on. Take these spirit stones. Rent a courtyard in Tianluo City and wait for my orders at all times. Although the guards were very surprised, it was better to save their lives than anything else. Moreover, although this young lad's spiritual power was a little low, her brain was too smart. It was definitely not wrong to follow her. Yi Wenhong watched coldly from the side. He couldn't help but admire her even more. Not only did this little cousin resolve a crisis, she even took the opportunity to subdue 10 guards. She was truly extremely intelligent. Everyone entered Tianluo City. The guards of the Yi residence sent Yun Chuzhou to the gate of the Xingtian Academy. Only then did they follow Yun Chuzhou's instructions to rent a courtyard. After Yun Chuzhou entered the Xingtian Academy, she went straight to Dean Gongsun's study. Yes, she used the back door. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. After all, she had delayed her lessons for 3 days. If she didn't use the back door, she might not be punished. After the guards passed the message, Yun Chuzhou entered Dean Gongsun's study room. Dean Gongsun had good ears and eyes. He already knew most of the things that had happened to Yun Chuzhou in the past few days. He couldn't help but be surprised. He didn't expect that in just a few days, Mo Fangchao, no, Yun Chuzhou had actually gone from a distant branch of a third-class family. She had suddenly become the daughter of a first-grade family, and was even rumored to be the favored child of the Tian Dao. It was really surprising. Yun Chuzhou bowed respectfully and took out Old Master Ye's personal letter and handed it to Dean Gongsun. Originally, Old Master Yi wanted Yi Yuanliang to write this letter, but Yun Chuzhou was smart enough to beg Old Master Yi to write one. What a joke! Old Master Ye's face was much greater than Yi Yuanliang's. As expected, Dean Gongsun's expression turned solemn when he saw great-grandfather Ye's private seal on the envelope. After Dean Gongsun finished reading the letter, he pondered for a moment. Mo, Yun Chuzhou, although there is a reason for this, you have also delayed 3 days of classes. According to the Academy's rules, Dean Gongsun had yet to finish his words. Yun Chuzhou took out a jade box and placed it on the table. Great-grandfather Dean, this is the inner core of the three-eyed purple-tailed iron-clawed eagle that I accidentally obtained. My knowledge is limited, so it would be a waste to leave it with me. I'll give it to you. Although Dean Gongsun wasn't an ignorant person, the inner core of the 45th level three-eyed purple-tailed iron-clawed eagle was priceless and couldn't be bought even if one had money. He was somewhat tempted. Yun Chuzhou was very shrewd. She knew that there was a reason for this when she saw the change in Dean Gongsun's expression. Then, she said, actually, I'm giving you this inner core because I'm asking for your help. I know that you're good at refining pills. If you use it to refine pills in the future and give me a few, I'll be eternally grateful. All right. In the future, when I refine pills, I'll give you a bottle. Even though you've delayed the course for 3 days, it happened too suddenly, and it wasn't under the control of manpower. Let's forget about it this time. It won't happen again. Dean Gongsun said seriously. Yes. I'll definitely strictly abide by the Academy's discipline in the future. Lord Dean, I'll take my leave then. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Sure enough, money could make the devil move the millstone. Dean Gongsun waved his hand. Yun Chujio then respectfully left Dean Gongsun's courtyard and strolled towards the dormitory. This fellow conveniently picked the fruit on the fruit tree by the roadside and chewed as he walked. It was currently lunchtime and there were many people on the road. However, when everyone saw Yun Chujio picking the fruit, they acted as if they didn't see it. What a joke. If they went to report it, they would be looking for trouble. Just as Yun Chujio was walking forward, Jin Ji and Xue Wuji ran over. Little Jiu. You're finally back. The three of them chatted and laughed as they walked towards the dormitory. At this moment, they were blocked by someone. Yun Chujio looked and saw that the person who blocked the road was Zhu Jingtai and his followers. Mo Fengchao. Don't think that you're so great just because you have points. I've asked around. Your family is just a distant branch of the Mo family. Do you know where I come from, young master? I'm from the Zhu family. Our Zhu family is a second-class family. If you don't satisfy me today, I'll make your Mo family suffer. The reason why Zhu Jingtai was acting like this was Wuxia's idea. Since there was no way to teach Yun Chujio a lesson, then she would use her family to threaten her. She would definitely give in. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Zhu Jingtai's clamor naturally attracted a lot of onlookers. Mo Fengbing was among them. When she heard Zhu Jingtai's words, she squeezed out of the crowd and said to Zhu Jingtai, my mother is also a member of the Zhu family. Our Mo family and the Zhu family are in-laws. Let's forget about this matter. Zhu Jingtai glanced at Mo Fengbing, he sneered, your mother is just a concubine's daughter. How can she be considered in-laws? Cut the crap. Mo Fengbing, if you kneel at my feet and kowtow to me 100 times, I will show mercy and spare you. Otherwise, not to mention that small branch of yours, even the original family of the Mo family will be in trouble. Mo Fengbing's face turned red from Zhu Jingtai's ridicule. She could not help but vent her anger on Yun Chujio. She stared at Yun Chujio coldly, Fengbing, the disaster was caused by you. You won't let the family be implicated by you, right? Yun Chujio glanced at Mo Fengbing and said, Sister Fengbing, according to your opinion, what should I do? I don't care what you do. Just don't implicate the family. Great-grandfather shouldn't have helped you manage the identity of a resident of the Eastern continent. He really raised an ingrate. Mo Fengbing glared at Yun Chujio with resentment. She originally thought that she wouldn't be implicated if she drew a clear line with her. She didn't expect that she would still be implicated. Zhu Jingtai said smugly from the side, Mo Fengchao, did you hear that? Your Mo family wishes to cut ties with you. You are really pitiful. Why aren't you kneeling down? Otherwise, the Mo family might remove you from the list. The surrounding people discussed animatedly. This Mo Fengchao was probably going to admit defeat this time. No matter how many points she had, how could she not care about the life and death of her family? Although that Zhu Jingtai was not a direct descendant of the Zhu family, his grandfather was a brother of the Zhu family's family head, so he could still have some say in the Zhu family. Mo Fengchao was only a distant descendant of a third-class family. Her status could be said to be very different. She had no other choice but to admit defeat. At this moment, the crowd saw that Yun Chujio actually giggled and laughed very happily. Is this guy crazy? Is he trying to pretend to be crazy to get out of this? He can only hide from Chi, but he can't hide from 15. Can he continue to pretend to be crazy? Just as everyone was thinking about it, they saw Yun Chujio take out an identity jade token. You want to use your identity to pressure me? TSK, I originally thought that using your identity to pressure others wasn't something to be proud of. After all, people can't decide where you come from. However, since you are willing to do this, I can only follow your example. Here, open your dog eyes and look at this identity jade token. Look at my current identity. Zhu Jingtai did not even look at the jade token in Yun Chujio's hand. He curled his lips and said, "You are really boasting shamelessly. What other identity can you have? Aren't you just a distant relative of the Mo family? You even have a jade token. You really overestimate yourself." Yun Chujio didn't argue with him. She pointed at a student and said, "Come here. Help him take a look at this jade token." The student who was pointed at took the jade token casually. However, when he saw the material and content of the jade token, his hand trembled. His eyes were wide open and his mouth was wide open. He couldn't say a word. Seeing this, Zhu Jingtai said with even more disdain, "I guess no one has seen your identity jade token in the Western continent. Don't embarrass yourself by taking it out." Hearing Zhu Jingtai's words, the student shook his head repeatedly and cried out in surprise, "No, no, no. Yi family, first class, first wife daughter. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time." What nonsense are you talking about? Li Huan, go and see what's going on. Zhu Jingtai glared at the student and said to one of his lackeys behind him. The student called Li Huan took a step forward and snatched the jade token from the student's hand. He muttered, "You're really ignorant. It's just a lower-class jade token from the Western continent. It's worth it for you." Li Huan's voice came to an abrupt stop. He looked as if he had seen a ghost and said in horror, This, the identity jade token of the first-class Yi family? The first-class daughter? You, how could you be the first-class daughter of the Yi family?" Yun Chujio only curled the corners of her mouth and did not say anything. Zhu Jingtai could not hold it in any longer. He snatched the jade token and took a look. On the front of the jade token was written, "First-class family Yi," and behind it was written, "Second-class daughter of the first-class family Jiu." Zhu Jingtai's face was filled with fear at first, then he laughed coldly as if he had suddenly realized something. "Mo Fangchao, you actually stole the Yi family's identity jade token. You're dead meat." Yun Chujio looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. Then, she took out the identity document from her storage ring and handed it to Li Huan. "You, read it out for everyone to hear. It's just the right time for everyone to get to know me, Yun Chujio, once again." Li Huan took the identity document and read it nervously. The original third-class family, Guangshun Ji Mo Fang Chao, has been applied by the first-class family, the Yi family. Now, she is the second daughter of the Yi family's second son, Yi Zhiyong. Her name has been changed to Yun Chujio. After reading it, Li Huan felt his legs go weak. He returned the identity document to Yun Chujio while trembling. Miss Yun, I don't know anything. Please don't lower yourself to my level. Just treat me as a fart and let me go." Yun Chujio ignored him and said to everyone clearly, "Everyone, I believe you have heard it clearly. From now on, there will be no more black fragrant grass in this world. There will only be me, Yun Chujio. Don't worry. Although I accidentally became the first-class Yi family's first-class daughter, I have never cared about bullying others. However, if someone wants to compare family background with me and use my family to bully me, then I'm sorry, I can only return a tooth for a tooth." Yun Chujio said until here. She sneered at Zhu Jingtai. "Zhu Jingtai, am I right? Your Zhu family is a second-class family, so powerful, I'm so scared. Didn't you want to destroy my family? I'll send a message to the Yi family right now, saying that your Zhu family wants to destroy the Yi family and get them ready. Otherwise, it would be terrible if they were really destroyed by your Zhu family. Zhu Jingtai was already scared silly, he kept shaking his head. No, it's impossible. These things of yours must be fake. You can't be the direct daughter of the Yi family. How could the Yi family inherit a good-for-nothing like you for no reason? At this moment, a student in the crowd said, what she said is true. I also just heard the news. Yun Chujia's mother is the granddaughter of old Master Yi. Moreover, Yun Chujio was not only adopted to the second branch of the Yi family, but she is also said to be the favored child of Tian Dao. Now, the first-class families in the eastern continent have already received the news. I'm afraid that your Zhu family isn't qualified enough, that's why you don't know about this news. That student was related to a first-class family, so he only received the news. At this moment, his words couldn't help but contain some complacency. Zhu Jingtai's face instantly turned deathly pale. His head buzzed. The Yi family was the outstanding person in a first-class family. Their Zhu family was only a second-class family, not to mention that he wasn't even a direct descendant. If the Yi family were to pursue this matter, perhaps the Zhu family would remove him in order to avoid being implicated. The more Zhu Jingtai thought about it, the more afraid he became. Bean-sized beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. His legs went soft and he collapsed onto the ground. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Yun Chujio had a faint smile on her face. She stared at Zhu Jingtai without saying anything. This kind of uncertain fear was even more torturous. When the situation was in a stalemate, a person walked over and slapped Zhu Jingtai twice. Idiot! Why aren't you apologizing to Junior Yun? Brother, why did you hit me? Zhu Jingtai looked at the person in shock. The person who came had a pair of Jiao Shaoyan. It was Zhu Jingtai's brother, Zhu Jingtong. Cut the crap. Why aren't you apologizing to Junior Yun? Zhu Jingtong gave Zhu Jingtai a look. Zhu Jingtai could only say dryly, I'm sorry. Humph. If saying sorry can solve the problem, then am I the one who killed you? Saying sorry is fine too. Yun Chujio mocked. Then what do you want? Zhu Jingtai was angry and afraid. On one hand, he resented Yun Chujio, and on the other hand, he resented Shi Luoxia who gave him advice. What did you say to me before? You want me to kneel down and kowtow 100 times, right? Then do it now. That person, help him count. Not a single one less. Yun Chujio pointed casually, she was referring to that Li Huan. Li Huan nodded and bowed as he quickly agreed. Yes. Don't worry, I promise to count properly. I won't let him miss a single kowtow. Zhu Jingtai glared at Li Huan. Li Huan spread his hands helplessly. There was nothing he could do. The person in front of him was his ancestor. As for you, get lost. Yun Chujio, don't go too far. I don't believe that the Yi family will really go against the Zhu family just because of you. Zhu Jingtai said while clenching his teeth. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Then let's try. After saying that, Yun Chujio made a move to leave, but unexpectedly, Zhu Jingtong kicked the crook of Zhu Jingtai's leg and then pressed Zhu Jingtong's head to kowtow to Yun Chujio. Li Huan, who was at the side, quickly counted loudly. 1, 2, 3. 99, 100. Junior Yun, Jingtai already knows that he's wrong. What do you think about this? Zhu Jingtong asked carefully. If he doesn't provoke me again, I won't bother to find trouble with him. However, if he goes to court death, he'll let your Zhu family die with him. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she left with Xue Wuji and Jin Ji. Zhu Jingtai glared at Zhu Jingtong with resentment and staggered far away. Zhu Jingtong frowned and chased after her. The people who were left behind immediately exploded. Oh my god! This Mo Fangchao, no, this Yun Chuzhou was simply lucky. She actually went from a distant branch of a third-class family to the daughter of a first-class family. This is simply like a sparrow turning into a phoenix. Yeah, it really makes people envious. The Yi family is ranked near the top even among first-class families. She already has so many points, and now that her identity has changed, won't she be even more arrogant in the future? Sigh. She has the right to be arrogant. We'd better not provoke her in the future. Otherwise, we'll be in big trouble. Mo Fangbing's face turned green and then white. She regretted it. If she had not drawn a clear line with Yun Chuzhou back then, would she be able to bask in Yun Chuzhou's glory? If she had not spoken ill of Yun Chuzhou just now, would the Mo family be related to the Yi family? However, there was no medicine for regret. From now on, she and Yun Chuzhou were worse than strangers. If her great-grandfather knew that Yun Chuzhou had been succeeded by the Yi family, he would definitely vent his anger on her. Yun Chuzhou and the other two went to Yun Chuzhou's dormitory. Yun Chuzhou told them about the Yi family and then took out the things she bought in Yi City to give to the two of them. Little sister Jiu, according to what you said, I'm afraid that Gu Shi and Lu Shi won't listen to Yi Wenhong's advice and will find trouble with you in the future. What do you plan to do? Xue Wuji crossed his legs and asked carelessly. What else can we do? Well, deal with whatever comes our way. I'm just an heir. Do you think that old Master Yi will really divorce Gu Shi and Lu Shi for me or something? It's simply impossible. The family head of these large families will always put the family's interests first, Yun Chuzhou said with slight ridicule. Little Jiu, if that's the case, then you should go to the Yi family less in the future. They won't go to the extent of treating you badly in the academy, Jin Ji said from the side. Beauty Jin Ji, you're wrong. Xingtian Academy isn't like Tianyuan Academy. Gu Shi and Lu Shi won't need much effort to do anything here. So, I still have to go to the Yi family. Not only do I have to go, but I also have to go often. Have you heard of the word nibbling? Nibbling. I want to dissolve their influence in the Yi family bit by bit, and wear down old Master Yi's patience with them bit by bit. You guys also have to work hard in your cultivation. When the Primordial Chaos sect opens to recruit disciples next year, let's go take the exam. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji were both stunned. Little sister Jiu, doesn't the Xingtian Academy take 5 years to graduate? Why do you want to go to the Primordial Chaos sect again? Besides, the Primordial Chaos sect is a super sect. Can we get in? Who cares if we get in or not? Let's go and try. Of course, it's best if we get in. If we don't, we can come back to the Xingtian Academy and continue studying, Yun Chuzhou said indifferently. Jin Ji was elated. Little Jiu, what you said is easy. If we were to go to the Primordial Chaos sect to participate in the entrance exam, it would probably take us 2 months to go back and forth and take the exam. Can Xingtian Academy give us such a long vacation? Yun Chuzhou leaned back on the chair and curled her lips. Everything is done by man. There's nothing impossible in this world. If you can't do it, it's only because you haven't found the right method. Leave this matter to me. It's only true that you guys should quickly increase your spiritual power. Although Xue Wuji and Jin Ji still didn't quite believe it, when they thought of this pervert's glorious past, they also believed it a little. In the following period of time, Yun Chuzhou was simply a school bully in Xingtian Academy. Not to mention the first-grade students, even the higher-grade students avoided her. What a joke. This fellow had the temperament of a bandit. Now that she had the identity of the Yi family's first daughter, if she was provoked, she would simply be looking for trouble. Even the first-grade star class teacher Dong restrained himself a lot. He no longer ridiculed Yun Chujio and the other two, but he still ignored them. Whether it was asking questions in class or answering questions, Yun Chujio and the other two had never been involved. He had said many times to other teachers behind their backs, "Che. That Yun Chujio just got lucky. She won't have any great prospects in the future." In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Yun Chujio felt that she should go to the Yi family for a stroll. Otherwise, old Master Yi would probably forget about her. However, the plan did not change quickly. On this day, Teacher Dong announced that the first test after entering the school would be held the next day. The last 30 students of the entire grade would be expelled. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. When the students of the star class heard the news, they all looked at Yun Chujio and the other two at the same time. Yun Chujio turned her head and glanced at the crowd. Those people immediately lowered their heads or looked away like mice seeing a cat. However, they all had a thought in their hearts. Yun Chujio, the three black sheep, was finally going to be disqualified. It was really a good thing for everyone. Teacher Dong clearly thought the same. He raised his voice and said, "Some students shouldn't think that they have special privileges just because their family background is superior to others. If they are ranked in the bottom 30 in this test, even a person from a first-class family will be expelled." Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. He was talking about her. She was the only person from a first-class family in Xingtian Academy. It seemed that this teacher Dong was not that snobbish. Of course, perhaps his snobbish eyes were different from ordinary people. They were not targeted at wealth and family background, but at the level of spiritual power. "Teacher Dong, what are the contents of our test this time?" a student asked. "I don't know either. The contents of every test in the academy are kept confidential to prevent you from making preparations in advance," Teacher Dong replied. Yun Chujio cursed silently in her heart. It was quite mysterious. This fellow had a little bit of anticipation in his heart. This time, she would let these scumbags see that she was not only a top student in the academy, but also a top student. The next day, the first-year students gathered at the Divine Axe Plaza. They were both nervous and expectant as they waited for Dean Dongsun to announce the contents of the test. You all probably know that our Heaven Punisher Academy got its name because of the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. Your test this time is related to the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. The Heaven Punisher Divine Axe is a divine weapon, and divine weapons aren't refined by cultivators. They are born and bred. You are going to the birthplace of the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe, the Heaven Pit of the Divine Axe. Your task is to collect the outer shell fragments that were removed when the Divine Axe was first born. The number of outer shell fragments you collect is your result. 3 people will form a group, and the last 10 groups will be expelled from the academy. The test period is 10 days. Dean Dongsun added a few more rules. It was nothing more than a ban on using talismans, prohibiting flying, and forbidding snatching. If they were in danger, they would be able to activate the jade tokens that were given to them later. Yun Chujio muttered in her heart. So it turned out that the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe was like a demonic beast, jumping out of an egg. She didn't know if the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe was in the Heaven Punisher Academy. It would be great if she had the chance to obtain it. Just as Yun Chujio's thoughts were running wild, she saw Dean Dongsun and a few vice deans surrounding the statue of the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe and forming a formation. At the same time, a teacher gave them jade tokens to use when they were in danger. Yun Chujio looked at the jade token that was given to them and saw that it said 105. This was probably their group number. Yun Chujio had suffered a loss from this jade plate before, so she threw this jade plate to the teacher and changed it to a jade plate with number 106 instead. The teacher dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. He thought to himself, this Yun Chujio is really crazy. Could it be that 106 is more pleasing to the eye? The teacher had no choice but to re-register and then handed out the jade plate with a gloomy face. When one of the people saw this scene, his eyes could not help but shrink. This damned girl was too shrewd. She actually switched out the jade token. Humph. However, what she did not know was that the jade token was not tampered with. What was tampered with was a teleportation array. At that time, even if the jade token in her hand was good and the corresponding teleportation array was not activated, they would still die. At this time, the godly axe statue actually moved away slowly. There was a white light on the spot. It seemed to be a teleportation array. The students walked into the teleportation array according to their class. Yun Chujio and the other two also walked in. When Yun Chujio regained her sight, she realized that she was in a huge deep pit. When she looked up, she could barely see the edge of the pit wall. The wall of the pit was as smooth as a mirror, but the bottom of the pit formed a world of its own. They were in a barren land, and not far away was a grassland. In the distance, it seemed to be a dense forest. Dean Gongsun showed everyone the shell fragments of the divine axe. They were made of a material that looked like stone but not stone. It was able to emit a faint golden light, making it easy to identify. Everyone began to search according to the group. There was basically no hope of finding this wasteland because the field of vision here was very wide. If there were any fragments of the divine axe's shell, they would be able to see it at a glance. Yun Chujio and the other two were not in a hurry. They had 10 days anyway, so it was not bad to let everyone scout the way first. There might be some strange demonic beasts in this ancient deep pit, so it was better to be careful. Yun Chujio walked to the edge of the stone wall and knocked on it. This stone wall is quite similar to the stone wall of the heavenly Tao cliff. I wonder what kind of scene is on it. If it was not forbidden to fly, I would really like to fly up and take a look. Jin Ji rolled her eyes. I guess it is to prevent people from climbing up, so this place is forbidden to fly. Just give up. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. A place that was afraid of people would definitely have good stuff. If it was forbidden to fly, others would not be able to fly up, but she had sticky silk. She could climb up. Then the question came. Should she climb up or not? If it was in the past, this guy might have climbed up because he was obsessed with money. However, after the honey incident last time, this guy had learned that nothing was more important than his life. Jin Ji knew this guy too well. She glared at her and said, "Don't even think about it. Let's go and find the shell fragments of the divine axe." Yun Chujio pouted and could only follow Jin Ji and Xue Wuji. This guy mumbled as he walked, "Do you think the academy is sick? What can the broken shell fragments of the Heaven Punisher divine axe do? Is it because the shell is good-looking? I think it's not as good-looking as the luminous pearls." Yun Chujio's eyes lit up when she said this. She remembered that Teacher Pang had promised her that if she got first place in the test, he would reward her with 5 luminous pearls. The guy was immediately energized. Regardless of whether the broken shell pieces were useful or not, she had to get first place. Perhaps because there were students scouting ahead, Yun Chujio and the others did not encounter any high-level demon beasts 2 days ago. However, they did not find a piece of the shell pieces of the axe. What Yun Chujio and the others did not know was that a large screen had been erected in the divine axe square. On it were the numbers of each team and the number of pieces of the divine axe's shell fragments that they had found. Some teams had already found 5 pieces of the shell fragments. Most of them had found 1 to 3 pieces of the shell fragments. Only a few teams had not found a single piece of the shell fragment. As expected, Team 106 was among them. Teacher Dong pursed his lips and said, "How was it? I told you that Yun Chujio was a good-for-nothing, right? What heavenly Dao's favorite? Maybe she was just making up a lie." It had to be said that Teacher Dong was telling the truth. A certain Jiao was indeed making up a lie. It could only be said that the person who understood you the most was your enemy. This, it shouldn't be, right? At that time, many people were present. Moreover, this test had only started for 2 days. Perhaps Yun Chujio and the others would make a comeback later on. After all, during the entrance test, they would only make a comeback at the last stage every time. Teacher Pang disagreed. Another 3 days passed. Not only did Yun Chujio and the others not find a fragment of the priest's shell, they didn't even touch a single one. The 3 of them thought that the dense forest was the end of the godly axe pit. Unexpectedly, when they passed through the dense forest, they found that there was a valley in front of them. Looking into the distance, they still couldn't see the end. This godly axe pit is really big. Where did those people go? Why didn't we meet any team? Jin Ji said in confusion. That's right. Although we walked a little slower, it's not to the extent that we can't see any team, right? Xue Wuji frowned and felt that something was wrong. Yun Chujio was stunned at first. She felt that this time, it seemed to be a familiar smell and formula. Could it be that they were isolated again? Could it be that the godly axe valley had also produced a Qiling? It couldn't be, right? If the godly axe valley had produced a Qiling, why would they allow everyone to search for the shell fragments of the godly axe? They should have hidden everything long ago. Then, what exactly was going on? The 3 of them discussed for a while, but they couldn't come to a conclusion. Yun Chujio even deliberately provoked and cursed the so-called Qi Ling a few times, but there was no result. The teachers in the Divine Axe Square looked at the changes in the data on the big screen and chatted from time to time. This batch of students seems to be very lucky. They found more than the previous few times. Yeah, they probably found the right place by coincidence. The students of the day class are indeed better. Most of the groups ranked at the front are from the day class. That's right. It seems that aptitude is very important. For example, Yun Chujio and the other 2. 5 days have passed, but they still haven't found a single one. I guess they will most likely be expelled. Teacher Dong listened from the side. If it were in the past, he might not be happy when others talked about the students of the star class having poor aptitude. But now, when he heard that Yun Chujio and the other 2 would be eliminated, he was actually very happy. It would be better if those 3 black sheep were expelled. Teacher Pang stroked his beard. He didn't know if that little girl, Yun Chujio, would create another miracle this time. He was really looking forward to it. A certain Jiao, whom Teacher Pang had placed high hopes on, was currently doing her ideological work. Brother Wuji, Beauty Jin Ji, you've all seen the current situation. We've definitely been scammed. Although we don't know who scammed us, it has only one purpose, and that is to prevent us from finding the fragment. If we want to break this deadlock, there's only one way, and that is to climb up. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji hesitated for a moment and agreed to Yun Chujio's suggestion. If they did not break down, they would not be able to establish themselves. If they continued to search below, they might really have to return empty-handed. The 3 of them found a stone wall. Yun Chujio had made a lot of sand from the Great Void Mystic Realm and laid it under the stone wall. In this way, even if they really fell down, they would at least be able to keep their lives. Although Xue Wuji and Jin Ji were shocked that Yun Chujio had taken out so much sand, they did not pay too much attention to it when they thought that there was even a big rock in this storage ring. After Yun Chujio had laid out the sand, she then gave Xue Wuji and Jin Ji a lot of sticky silk. The 3 of them began to climb up the stone wall. The 3 of them climbed for a full 10 hours. From dawn till sunset, they finally reached the top of the stone wall. However, when the 3 of them saw the situation before them, they could not help but be greatly disappointed. They originally thought that there would be many fragments of the divine axe's outer shell on it, but they did not expect that there were many stones on the ground, but they were all ordinary stones. Other than the rocks on the ground, there were also many rocks of different sizes. The big ones were a few feet tall, while the small ones were only the size of a thumb. There were strange rocks all over the ground, and the whole place was desolate. There was not even a hint of life. Yun Chujio climbed onto a big rock and looked into the distance. Everything was the same, except for the rocks. This guy couldn't help but feel frustrated. He had spent a lot of effort and almost fainted from exhaustion. He didn't even get a shard of the shell. He was really unlucky. The three of them originally planned to climb down, but it was getting late. They decided to sleep on the top of the mountain for a night and climb down the next day. The moon rose, and the light gently covered the entire deep pit. Yun Chujio was about to take out the universal tent to sleep when she heard a movement below the cliff. It seemed that someone was calling for help. Yun Chujio frowned. Could it be that someone had encountered a high-level demon beast? If they had encountered a high-level demon beast, wouldn't it be over? Was there a need to shout so loudly? Was it a bitter scene? Shui Wuji and Jin Ji also heard the movement. The three of them looked at each other, then quietly went to the side of the stone wall and looked down. Fortunately, it was the 15th night, and the moon was round and bright, so the three of them could see the general situation below. They saw a person stumbling in front of them, screaming for help while running, and behind him was a person emitting red light. Perhaps it could not be called a person, because that thing seemed to be floating, more like a remnant soul. Kiki, little ant, where are you running to? I've just awakened my intelligence, and you fresh blood slaves have come to my door. The heavens are really helping me. The person who was running in front saw that there was no hope of escaping, so he knelt on the ground. God, spare me. God, spare me. As long as you let me go, I'll do anything you want. God. Pooey. I'm not that kind of useless thing. I'm a Shui Mo. Back then, I was suppressed by the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe, and my soul was almost destroyed. Fortunately, the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe went missing and I was able to save my life. Now, fresh blood slaves like you have come to my doorstep. This is a good opportunity for me to make a comeback. Master Shuemo, please spare my life. Master Shuemo, please spare my life. As long as you let me go, I will definitely find more living people for you to enjoy. The man said with a trembling voice. Yun Chujio felt that this voice was somewhat familiar. It seemed to be Zhu Jingtai's voice. Shuemo laughed strangely. Don't lie to me. I used the fragments of the godly axe's shell to attract you guys. Not a single fish escaped from the net. Where are you going to find fresh blood slaves for me? No. No. There are still 3 people who haven't been captured by you. One of them has a mutated wind spirit root, and the other one has a heavenly thunder spirit root. Their blood will definitely be very nutritious. I'll help you find them. Please don't kill me. Zhu Jingtai begged while kowtowing. Shui Mo's hand suddenly expanded and grabbed Zhu Jingtai's clothes. What did you say? There's another heavenly thunder spirit root. Where is he? She should have fallen behind. The 3 of them have low spiritual power, so they probably don't dare to walk too fast for fear of being attacked by demonic beasts. Master Shuemo, what I said is true. Please spare me. Humph. Take me to them. If you find them, I will let you become the leader of the blood slaves and stop sucking your blood. If you can't find them, I will kill you directly. Shuemo said sinisterly. Then, she swung it down the stone wall. Jin Ji and Xue Wuji almost cried out in shock. This Xiao He was really audacious. Wasn't he courting death? The two of them were about to help Xiao He with the rope, but they were surprised to find that Xiao He was completely at ease. It calmly grabbed the rope with its two front claws and sat on the ground without moving at all. All right. A perverted spiritual pet was indeed perverse. Not long after, Yun Chuzhou swung onto the ground and then untied the rope around her waist. After Xiao He pulled the rope up, it successively pulled Jin Ji and Xue Wuji down as well. Finally, Xiao He released the rope. After Yun Chuzhou put the rope away, she placed dozens of sacks of talisman paper on the sand. Only then did Xiao He jump down. Xiao He was very light and the floor was very thick, so Xiao He landed on the ground safely. After Yun Chuzhou put Xiao He into the spirit beast bag, she put the sand and talisman paper into her storage ring. After making sure that there was nothing wrong, the three of them carefully walked forward. Fortunately, there are many weeds under the stone wall. Otherwise, the sand would definitely expose us. It was so close, Yun Chuzhou said softly as she walked. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji were also very happy. If it weren't for the sudden urge of little Jiu to climb up the stone wall, they would have been caught by the blood demon at this time. The three of them walked for an hour and didn't find anything unusual. Yun Chuzhou stopped. No, logically speaking, Zhu Jingtai can't have run that far. We must have missed something. Well, continue to look for him later. After a while, Jin Ji said excitedly, Here. There's something wrong here. Yun Chuzhou and Xue Wuji looked in the direction that Jin Ji was pointing at. It was an ancient tree, and it didn't seem like there was anything wrong with it. Xue Wuji looked at Jin Ji in confusion. Jin Ji, what's wrong? It doesn't have a shadow. Jin Ji pointed at the ground and said. Yun Chuzhou and Xue Wuji took a look. Sure enough, there was no shadow on this huge ancient tree. This was obviously abnormal. This meant that this ancient tree didn't really exist. It was just an illusion to cover the entrance. Yun Chuzhi's heart skipped a beat. She used her spiritual sense and said, Glass ball, all you do is eat all day. Now is the time for you to play your role. Hurry up and tell me, where is the entrance? The black bead trembled lazily. Then, Yun Chuzhou felt her spiritual sense suddenly become clear. She waved at Xue Wuji and Jin Ji, indicating for them to follow behind her. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji followed Yun Chuzhou in all directions, as if they were walking in circles. However, they were surprised to find that the scene in front of them had changed. There were no big trees at all. Instead, there was a deep tunnel. One could vaguely smell the nauseating smell of blood. Yun Chuzhou took out the luminous bead to illuminate the tunnel. She saw that both sides of the tunnel were scattered with dried demon beast corpses. She thought to herself, no wonder she did not encounter any high-level demon beasts on the way. It turned out that they were all sucked dry by the Xuemo. She didn't know whether those students were dead or not, but from the Xuemo's words, it seemed like it was keeping them to slowly drink blood. It probably hadn't killed them yet. The three of them were afraid that the Xuemo would return, so they sped up and finally reached the end of the tunnel. At the end of the tunnel was a wide stone hall. There were several stone rooms around the stone hall. Inside were the first-year students of Xingtian Academy. Strangely, the stone room did not have a door, but those students were obediently staying inside. When they saw Yun Chuzhou and the other two, they did not have any reaction, as if they were dumbfounded. Yun Chuzhou frowned. Had they been fed with poison or had they fallen into an illusion? Why were they all dumbfounded? If they were to save a bunch of idiots, it would be better not to save them. Yun Chuzhou walked to the entrance of a stone room. The students inside were all from the star class. Yun Chujio immediately saw the dazed Mo Fongbing. She sat on the ground, her eyes empty. Yun Chujio waved her hand in front of her, but there was no reaction at all. Yun Chujio threw half a basin of water at her, but there was still no reaction. Yun Chujio and the other two looked at each other. This was bad. Maybe they're afraid of pain. I'll give it a try. Jin Ji took out a needle and stabbed Mo Fangbing's arm. Jin Ji would never admit that she did it on purpose. She simply hated this Mo Fangbing to death. If it wasn't for Little Jiu, would she have been able to enter Xingtian Academy? Little Jiu was even prepared to let Mo Fangbing move into her courtyard. In the end, the other party actually took the initiative to draw a line between them. What was more hateful was that when Zhu Jingtai and Little Jiu were arguing, she actually hit them while they were down. What an ingrate. She probably knew that Little Jiu had been adopted to the Yi family as the daughter of the first wife, and her intestines were turning green with regret. She deserved it. Jin Ji fiercely stabbed her a few times, but Mo Fangbing was still in a daze. She couldn't even feel the pain. Just as Yun Chujio and the other two were frowning, the sound of walking could be heard from the tunnel. The three of them were shocked. It was over. Shui Mo must have returned. What should they do? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. The three of them dragged Mo Fangbing to the innermost part of the stone chamber. Then, they pushed the others to the front to cover up the water stains on the ground. The three of them lowered their heads and pretended to be as stunned as the others. Shui Mo walked into the stone chamber and threw Zhu Jingtai on the ground. Strange. I clearly felt that someone touched the array. How could there be no one? Zhu Jingtai knelt down and crawled a few steps. Master Shui Mo, it might be Yun Chujio and the other two. They must be nearby, you can catch them soon. What you said makes sense. But I'm hungry, I'll drink some blood first, then I'll go out to look for them. Shui Mo waved his hand as he spoke, and a student flew to his side. He grabbed him and bit down on the student's neck. A moment later, the student was thrown back into the stone room and another student was grabbed by Shui Mo to suck his blood. After a total of 10 students, Shui Mo used his tongue to lick the blood on the side of his mouth. Jia, if I didn't want to drink for a longer period of time, I would have sucked them dry. Zhu Jingtai was already trembling. Shui Mo kicked him and said, useless thing. If you want to become the leader of the blood slaves, you have to drink blood too. You, go and get someone. Drink a few mouthfuls of his blood, or I will kill you. Zhu Jingtai stood up and walked to the door of a stone room. However, he realized that all the students were from the day class, so he couldn't bring himself to do it. Therefore, he turned around and walked towards the stone room of the star class. Yun Chujio's heart was like a beeping dog. This damn Zhu Jingtai. There were a total of 10 stone rooms here. Which one of them was bad? Why did he have to choose this stone room? Zhu Jingtai walked to the door of the stone room where Yun Chujio and the others were. He trembled and grabbed a student. He tried a few times, but he still couldn't make a move. Shui Mo was impatient. Useless thing. If you still don't make a move, I'll suck you dry first. Zhu Jingtai gritted his teeth and took out a dagger. I was forced to. I'll only drink a few mouthfuls of your blood. It won't kill you. Don't blame me. As Zhu Jingtai spoke, he held the dagger in his hand and was about to cut the student's neck, but he suddenly stopped. He shouted excitedly, Master Shui Mo. Master Shui Mo. Something is wrong here. There is water on the ground. It must be Yun Chujio and the other two. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth in anger. If Shui Mo found them later, she would not do anything else but kill Zhu Jingtai first. Yun Chuzhou and the other two girls' hearts were in their throats. They hated Zhu Jingtai to death in their hearts. It was over. Shui Mo would definitely find out something was wrong after he shouted. Jie Jie, you idiot. It was just that little weakling who peed his pants. Didn't you see that his crotch was wet? Humans are indeed useless ants. Stop dawdling. Suck it quickly, or it'll suck you dry, Shui Mo said disdainfully. Yun Chuzhou. Shui Wuji. Jin Ji. Zhu Jingtai didn't dare to dawdle any longer. He picked up a dagger and cut a wound on the student's neck. After sucking 2 mouthfuls of blood, he squatted by the side and began to retch. Shui Mo waved his sleeve, and Zhu Jingtai was immediately sent flying. Trash. Zhu Jingtai quickly got up and said submissively, Sir Shui Mo, I'm just not used to it. I won't do it again in the future. Useless thing, why aren't you leading the way? When I think of the blood of that heavenly thunder spirit root, I can't stop my saliva. Shui Mo said with a strange laugh. Zhu Jingtai staggered into the tunnel with Shui Mo. Just as Jin Ji was about to move, Yun Chuzhou held her hand. Sure enough, Shui Mo returned. He glanced around the stone hall and saw that there was nothing unusual. Then, he turned around and returned to the tunnel. After another 15 minutes, Yun Chuzhou saw that there was nothing unusual. Then, she signaled that Jin Ji could speak. Little Jiu, these people are like idiots. What should we do next? Yun Chuzhou frowned. I don't know if these people were poisoned or what, but they didn't have any reaction even after their blood was sucked. We must find a way to make them return to normal. Otherwise, the 3 of us won't be able to deal with that Shui Mo. Yun Chuzhou took out a clear heart pill and fed it to Mo Fangbing. She was pleasantly surprised to find that Mo Fangbing's eyes moved a little. It seemed that the clear heart pill was useful, but its effect was not strong enough. Yun Chuzhou simply fed a bottle of clear heart pills to Mo Fangbing. Only then did Mo Fangbing completely return to normal. Seeing Yun Chuzhou and the other 2, it was as if they had seen a life-saving straw. Feng Chao, let's run away quickly. That thing is too terrifying. If it comes back, it will kill us. Yun Chuzhou glanced at her. Do you think we can escape? The Jade token can't be activated now. I reckon we can only leave after we kill that Shui Mo. Mo Fangbing's face was pale. That thing is not human at all. It spat out a red mist at us, and we couldn't help ourselves. I knew everything with my spiritual sense just now, but my body didn't listen to me at all. How could we kill it? If it's not us, aren't there still 600 people here? Stop wasting time. Take out the pills in your storage ring that can clear your mind and feed it to them. Hurry up. Yun Chuzhou said as she continued to take the pills to save the others. Mo Fangbing did not dare to say anything more and quickly followed her instructions. The students who were woken up followed suit and started to save the other students. Yun Chuzhou asked while saving the students, how did you all get caught by that Shui Mo? Mo Fangbing told them what had happened. These students were attracted by the fragments of the Heaven Punisher axe. They found the fragments near the cave and were driven into the tunnel by greed. When they reached the tunnel, they were subdued by Shui Mo in batches. How did Zhu Jingtai escape? Yun Chuzhou asked in confusion. He was going to come in, but he had a stomachache, so he was a little late. He probably saw our situation and ran away, said Li Huan, who helped Yun Chuzhou to count. When that Shui Mo sprayed the poisonous fog, would you be affected immediately? Or would you need to wait for a while? How many people would be affected by its poisonous fog once? Yun Chuzhou continued to ask. The body will slowly stiffen, about 15 minutes. It can cover a distance of 40 to 50 zhang with its poisonous fog once. If it's outside the attack range, it won't be affected, Li Huan said eagerly. Yun Chuzhou nodded. Based on her initial judgment, that Shuai didn't wake up for a long time. Otherwise, the students from the Heaven Punisher Academy wouldn't be safe. Since he had just awakened, his strength was definitely still very weak. If everyone worked together, their chances of winning were still very high. An hour later, everyone in the stone hall returned to normal. Yun Chuzhou said solemnly, "Everyone, you've all seen it. That Shuai isn't something that we can deal with alone or with a few people. We must unite. As long as we work together, we can definitely kill it. Don't think that you can get away with anything. Our jade tokens are no longer effective. In this deep pit, we are like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. If we are a pile of loose sand, we can only be slaughtered." Li Huan immediately echoed, "Miss Yun, our lives were saved by you. We will do whatever you say." With someone taking the lead, the rest of the people also expressed their stance, indicating that they were willing to listen to Yun Chuzhi's arrangements. Even if some people, such as Zhai Shanshan, were not willing, they did not dare to have any objections at this moment for the sake of their own lives. "All right. Since you insist, I will reluctantly agree to your request. But let's be clear. If anyone does not listen to my orders, don't blame me for being ruthless." Yun Chuzhou straightened her back, her sharp eyes swept across everyone. Everyone felt that Yun Chuzhi's gaze seemed to have substance. They could not help but feel a chill in their hearts. The people who had some petty schemes immediately scared away those thoughts. The space here is narrow. It's advantageous to us. Let's rush out. Everyone did not dare to have any objections. They followed Yun Chuzhou out of the tunnel and arrived outside. Yun Chuzhou felt that Shuai and Zhu Jingtai must have returned to that dense forest to look for them. If they failed to find them, they would return by the same route. Therefore, setting up an ambush along the path that they had to pass was the best choice. Thinking of this, Yun Chuzhou chose a shrub and asked everyone to spread out and hide in the shrub. "Bring this thing with you and put the upper clear heart pill in your mouth. You can last for at least 15 minutes. When attacking, try to use long-range attacks. If someone is poisoned, your companions will immediately stuff the pill into his mouth. Do you hear me?" Yun Chuzhou took out a self-made gas mask painfully. She distributed it to everyone. There were only a few dozen gas masks left in Yun Chuzhi's storage ring. It was obviously not enough. Yun Chuzhou asked everyone to make their own gas masks. There was no charcoal powder. She asked them to put some mind-clearing herbs or hay inside. In short, they could more or less play a role. Just as the east was about to turn white, Shuai carried Zhu Jingtai and rushed back from afar. Yun Chuzhou could not help but have a thought. She heard that vampires were afraid of the sun. Could it be that Shuai was also afraid of the sun? That was why he rushed back. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Yun Chuzhou was afraid that Shuai would discover their ambush, so she deliberately walked a mile forward in order to attract Shuai's attention. When Shuai was about to reach Yun Chuzhi's hiding place, he suddenly stopped and laughed strangely. "Who's sneaking around there? Come out now. It must be the girl with the heavenly thunder spirit root." Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes and jumped out with her gas mask. "Hey! Why are you looking for me, you blood-sucking old bat?" Zhu Jingtai pointed at Yun Chuzhou and said obsequiously to Shuai, "Master Shuai, she is Yun Chuzhou with the heavenly thunder spirit root. Please catch her. Kiki, it's so easy to find her. I've been looking for you for a whole night, and you came to me of your own accord. What a good fortune." Shuai spat out poisonous mist at Yun Chuzhou as he spoke. He thought that Yun Chuzhou would lose her ability to move and eventually become his blood slave. Sure enough, Yun Chuzhou exclaimed and said anxiously, "Oh my God, why can't my arms, legs, and soles listen to me? You old bat, what the hell are you spitting out?" Zhu Jingtai said arrogantly at the side, "Yun Chuzhou, aren't you the darling of Tiandao? Pooey. You revealed your true form when you met Shuemo, right? Shuemo spat out poisonous fog, just wait for your death." Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart, "Reveal my true form. She wasn't some fox turned into a demon, reveal my true form." This Zhu Jingtai had walked further and further on the road of courting death. She didn't even need to make a move. The students of Xingtian Academy would teach him a lesson. Although Yun Chuzhou thought so in her heart, she said, "What? Is it the poisonous fog? It's over, it's over. Then, won't I be dead?" Hearing Yun Chuzhou's words, Zhu Jingtai became even more arrogant. "Sir Blood Demon, this Yun Chuzhou is definitely in your bag. I think Xue Wuji and Jin Ji must be nearby. I'll go find them for you." Zhu Jingtai thought that Shuemo would be very happy to hear that. He didn't expect Shuemo to snort coldly. "Take this back to the cave first. I'll come out to find the remaining two at night." Hearing Shuemo's words, Yun Chuzhou was even more certain that Shuemo must be afraid of the sunlight. This was even easier. If she could delay until the sun rose, she could definitely kill it. Thinking of this, Yun Chuzhou said to Shuemo, "Why do you have to drink my blood? I have a lot of spirit stones, I will give them all to you. Can you not drink my blood?" Shuemo curled his lips. "You are indeed a stupid human. Cut the crap and follow me." As Shuemo said this, its right arm suddenly expanded and grabbed towards Yun Chuzhou's neck. It thought that it would definitely hit Yun Chuzhou in one hit. After all, Yun Chuzhou had already been poisoned by its poisonous mist. Unexpectedly, its right hand was about to grab Yun Chuzhou's neck. Yun Chuzhou's body avoided its right hand at a strange angle. "Damn it, old bat, are you serious? You want to drink my blood? Dream on," Yun Chuzhou said as she threw several bolts of lightning towards Shuemo. Shuemo subconsciously took a few steps back. Lightning was an extremely masculine and young item. Its subconscious mind was very afraid of lightning. Yun Chuzhou's eyes lit up. "Ha! So you're afraid of my little Zhou's thunderbolt? Then die." Yun Chuzhou shot out several more purple bolts of lightning towards Shuemo. Shuemo saw that although Yun Chuzhou's lightning was purple, its power was not very strong. He sneered and said, "Damn girl. Do you think I'm afraid of your little lightning bolts? I was just teasing you just now. Prepare to die." Shuemo spat out another mouthful of poisonous mist at Yun Chuzhou as he spoke. Although his strength was extremely heaven-defying in the past, he had been suppressed for so many years and had just awakened. His strength was less than 1/100th of his previous strength, he could only rely on the poisonous mist to win. If Shuemo's strength was not greatly reduced now, he would not have failed to notice that there were many people hiding in the bushes in the distance. Shuemo had thought that Yun Chuzhou would definitely become more stiff after the poisonous mist was sprayed out. Who would have thought that Yun Chuzhou would not only not slow down, but become more active instead? "Hey! You old bat, you still call yourself a Shuemo? Tui! I see that you are just a smelly bat who does not dare to see others. How can someone like you be called a demon? You are really shameless. If all demons are as cowardly as you, why don't you just change your name to Bastard Demon? Look at you, you're simply brainless. What kind of place is this? This is the place where the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe was born. You, an old bat, actually dared to behave atrociously here. I think you've had enough of living." Shuemo's aura kept howling. When had it ever been cursed like this? Even the person who had subdued it had never belittled it like this. However, it was just too weak now. Even after a long time, it was still unable to restrain Yun Chuzhou. Shui Mo glared at Zhu Jingtai at the side. You piece of trash. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and help me catch this smelly girl. Zhu Jingtai, if you dare to help the old bat, I'll kill you. Yun Chuzhou said fiercely. Zhu Jingtai couldn't help but shiver, but when he remembered the matter of kneeling to Yun Chuzhou, he felt disgusted and said with a sinister smile, Bitch. You can't even protect yourself, and you still dare to threaten me? Die. Yun Chuzhou sneered. She was really courting death. It would be a waste if she didn't kill him today. Yun Chuzhou had already probed the depth of Shui Mo, so there was no need to hide it. She whistled, and the people who were lying in ambush rushed over. Shui Mo was shocked. How was this possible? How did all these people escape? No wonder he felt that someone had touched the array formation. It was them. Zhu Jingtai almost collapsed to the ground. He knew that these people would not spare him, especially after he drank the blood of one of them. It was over. He could only hope that these people were not Shui Mo's match. Otherwise, there was no way for him to survive. However, when he saw that those people had the same thing on their faces as Yun Chuzhou, his heart turned cold. It was because of this mask that Yun Chuzhou was not afraid of Shui Mo's poisonous fog. Those people probably were not afraid of Shui Mo's poisonous fog either. Those students followed Yun Chuzhou's instructions and began to attack Shui Mo with their spiritual power. Some students hated that Zhu Jingtai was in cahoots with Shui Mo, so some directly attacked Shui Mo with their spiritual power. Yun Chuzhou had already jumped to the side and attacked Shui Mo with the others. At this time, the sun had already risen from the east, and Shui Mo's figure became a little faint. Shui Mo was in a hurry to get away and rushed to the students in front of it, spitting out poisonous fog as it rushed. Stop it. It's already at the end of its flight. If we let it escape, there will be endless trouble in the future. Yun Chuzhou hurriedly shouted to the others. Those students might have been caught by the Shui Mo previously, so they had a shadow. Therefore, even though they heard Yun Chuzhou's shout, they knew what to do. However, they could not help but avoid it. Yun Chuzhou was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She could only let the little black bird curse. She was trying her best. The little black bird had cursed humans and demonic beasts before. However, this was the first time it had cursed a demon. She did not know whether it would be useful or not. Xiao Hanio wasn't sure either. Shui Mo wasn't like a human or a demon beast that was steady on the ground. Would it work? Xiao Hanio didn't care and started to curse. Shui Mo saw that everyone made a gap and ran towards it happily. At this moment, it felt its body leaning forward involuntarily. Although its body wasn't solid, it slowed down when it leaned forward. Seeing this, Yun Chuzhou shot out several bolts of lightning at it. However, these bolts of lightning contained the small flame of the 10,000-year-old fire marrow. Yun Chuzhou had never thought about the small flame. She did not expect that the small flame would take the initiative to attack this time. Although Shui Mo had sensed Yun Chuzhou's sneak attack from behind, it did not pay much attention to it. This little ant's strength was still very weak, so its damage was limited. The reason why it was in a hurry to escape was not because it was afraid of the students of Xingtian Academy, but because it was afraid of the sun in the sky. Thinking of this, Shui Mo did not dodge at all. Instead, it prepared to continue running forward. Otherwise, as time passed, the stronger the sun's rays were, the greater the damage it would suffer. Therefore, Yun Chuzhou's lightning bolts and the small flame hidden within them struck Shui Mo's back. Shui Mo let out a shrill scream. Just like how it was afraid of Yun Chuzhou's lightning bolts, the 10,000-year-old fire marrow was also an extremely masculine and young item. Shui Mo's figure was instantly burned by the small flame, leaving a hole in it. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. Io, the small flame was really something. Yun Chujio shouted at the crowd, "Fire spirit root, attack it together. Since it's afraid of the sun, it must be afraid of fire." The reason why Yun Chujio shouted like that was because, firstly, she felt that Shui Mo was afraid of fire. Secondly, it was to hide the existence of small flames. After all, if the crowd could not see through it once, there would be a flaw if they used it a few more times. Those students were upset about their cowardice just now. When they heard Yun Chujia's words, the fire spirit root students immediately began to attack Shui Mo. If they were not fire spirit root students, they might as well take out a fire fuse or fire stone to light something and throw it at Shui Mo. The crowd picked up firewood and the flames were high. What if it was useful? Shui Mo screamed miserably as he was burned. Several holes were burned on his body, and his figure became fainter and fainter. Just when everyone thought that they could burn him to death, Shui Mo summoned several pieces of the shell of the godly axe. Those pieces formed a stone egg, and Shui Mo's body turned into a wisp of red smoke and drilled into it. Everyone was stunned at first, and then they continued to use fire to attack. Yun Chujio also used lightning with a small flame, but the stone egg was extremely hard. There was not even a single crack. Everyone was dumbfounded. Everyone used axes to chop and fire to burn. They used all the methods they could, but they still could not break the stone egg. Even though they knew that Shui Mo was hidden inside the stone egg, they still could not break it. Could it be that they could only let it go? Someone tried to activate the jade token, but it still did not work. It seemed that they had to kill this Shui Mo before they could get out. Yun Chujio frowned. It was daytime now, and they could still use the sun to control the Shui Mo. If it was nighttime, the Shui Mo would definitely counterattack. At that time, all their efforts would be for naught. Since no one could open the stone egg, they vented their anger on Zhu Jingtai and beat him to death. Yun Chujio did not have the time to care about his life and death. All her attention was on the stone egg. How could she open the stone egg? Yun Chujio tried to use the small needle of spiritual power, but unfortunately, the small needle of spiritual power could not penetrate the stone egg at all. In fact, the stone egg was made of the shell of the Heaven Punisher divine axe, so it was naturally extremely hard. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was already evening. In less than 2 hours, the sun would set. What Yun Chujio thought of, everyone also thought of. Once the sun set, Shui Mo would definitely make a comeback. What should they do? Yun Chujio, why don't we bury this stone egg? Bury it deep? A student said. Yun Chujio was speechless. Could she be any more stupid? Shui Mo didn't have a physical body, so what was the point of burying it deep? Yun Chujio, why don't we throw this stone egg far away? As long as it can't find us before dawn, we won't be afraid of it. Yun Chujio felt that this idea was alright, but it was probably too late now. According to their speed, Shui Mo could catch up to them in 2 hours. Moreover, this was a way to treat the symptoms but not the root of the problem. Even if they could avoid Shui Mo, they would not be able to avoid him. When Yun Chujio told them her idea, everyone immediately felt discouraged. This was not going to work either. Could it be that they could only wait for Shui Mo to counterattack? Yun Chujio was also very angry. She looked at Shirdan on the ground and scolded, no matter what, you used to be the shell of the Heaven Punisher divine axe. How can you protect a demon? Are you stupid? Yun Chujio was also desperate. It was unlikely that this piece of stone would have sentience. If it had sentience, it would not have been controlled by Shui Mo. She was just venting her anger. The more Yun Chujio thought about it, the angrier she got. She kicked the stone egg. Perhaps she used too much strength, but she actually kicked the stone egg onto the stone wall. Then, this guy sadly discovered that 2/3 of the stone egg was embedded in the stone wall. She wanted to pull the stone egg out, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not pull it out. This fellow stomped her feet in anger and subconsciously took out a large kitchen knife and slashed at the stone egg. The knife slashed down, and this fellow also regretted it. Although this large kitchen knife had been stolen from the Linghua sect's large kitchen, it had followed her for several years. Not only had it chopped firewood and cut demon beast meat, but it had also helped her extort quite a number of spirit stones. With this slash, this large kitchen knife was probably going to be crippled. However, because she was too angry, she used too much strength, and it was already too late for her to withdraw her hand. All of this happened in the midst of sparks. Yun Chujio only heard a clear clang sound, and the stone egg was actually cut into 2 halves. The stone egg once again turned into pieces, and Shui Mo jumped out from within. The large kitchen knife in Yun Chujio's hand had slipped out of her hand because she used too much strength, and with a clang, it fell to the ground. At this moment, Shui Mo was dumbfounded. It thought that it was safe to hide in the stone egg. When it came out at night, it would be able to take revenge. Who would have thought that the stone egg was broken? How could it be broken? It was obviously not a good time to consider this question. It grabbed Yun Chujio's neck. Yun Chujio was too surprised because of the broken egg shell, so she did not have time to react. Being ambushed by Shui Mo, one could imagine the frustration in her heart. Jie Jie, you stinky girl. I've never suffered such a huge loss before. However, as long as I drink your blood, my cultivation will recover a lot. The heavens don't want me to die. Shui Mo shouted excitedly. Yun Chujio was strangled and couldn't speak at all. She could only keep flailing around like a chick being strangled. Everyone was stunned. No one had expected such a turn of events. What should they do now? Zhai Shanshan shouted, let's use fire to attack. We have to kill Shui Mo first. Otherwise, when the sun sets, we will be dead. When Jin Ji heard what Zhai Shanshan said, she roared angrily, Little Jiu is still in its hands. If it uses fire to attack, what will Little Jiu do? Zhai Shanshan snorted coldly. This is something that cannot be helped. Do you want everyone to be buried with her? Jin Ji was trembling with anger. You are simply ungrateful. If it was not for Little Jiu, would you have escaped from the cave? Now, you actually want to repay kindness with hatred. You are simply inhuman. 1 yard is 1 yard. I'm naturally grateful that she saved me, but now she can't be the cause of all of us being buried together, right? Don't you agree? Zhai Shanshan turned to ask the other students. Everyone's reactions were different. Although some did not say anything, they were already prepared to attack. It was obvious that they agreed with Zhai Shanshan's idea. Some people looked like they were struggling. It was obvious that they did not know if they were protecting their lives against their conscience or sticking to their morals. Some of them looked disapproving. They clearly felt that Zhai Shanshan's actions were no different from Zhu Jingtai's. Yun Chujio, this fellow, was being strangled by Shui Mo. She actually had the leisure to record the performance of these people in the Black Book. It had to be said that this fellow's heart was big enough. This fellow knew that in order to recover her power, Shui Mo would not kill her. It would feed her slowly and drink her blood. However, how could he escape? He could not really be killed by his own people, right? Shui Mo heard what Zhai Shanshan said. He could not help but laugh strangely. Jie Jie, I told you that humans are the most selfish and despicable species. You see, it's true, right? Stupid girl, what's the use of you saving them? In the end, don't they still have to sacrifice you? Some people could not help but look ashamed when they heard Shui Mo's words. Yes, if they really sacrificed Yun Chuzhou, then what was the difference between them and a demon? Those who were initially hesitant, upon hearing Shui Mo's words, became firm in their beliefs and stood on Jin Ji's side. Zhai Shanshan was afraid that the more time passed, the bigger the change would be. She said to those who agreed with her, "What are all of you still standing there for? Hurry up and use fire to attack Shui Mo." Shui Wuji, Jin Ji, and the others naturally would not let them do that. They blocked the way in front of them, and the situation was in a stalemate for a moment. Shui Mo lowered his head and wanted to bite Yun Chujia's neck. No matter what, he wanted to drink some blood to replenish his strength. Just as Shui Mo's mouth was about to touch Yun Chujia's neck, the large kitchen knife suddenly flew up from the ground and slashed at Shui Mo. Shui Mo felt the wind behind him, and he flicked his sleeve carelessly. He thought that he would definitely be able to deflect the large kitchen knife, but he did not expect that the moment the large kitchen knife hit his body, an intense tearing pain came from his body. It was even more painful than being burned by a small flame. Shui Mo suddenly trembled, and he even let go of Yun Chujia's hand. He recalled the days when he was suppressed by the Heaven Punisher divine axe. Could it be? No, it was impossible. Shui Mo did not continue to think because the kitchen knife seemed to have gone mad as it continued to hit his body. Wherever the kitchen knife slashed, Shui Mo's body instantly turned into nothingness. Yun Chuzhou coughed for a while, and the small flame in her hand also hacked towards Shui Mo. Damn it, it almost turned into its melodious beauty, burning you to death. The students of Xingtian Academy also reacted and began to fire at Shui Mo. All kinds of fire-type attacks smashed towards Shui Mo. Finally, Shui Mo's body completely disappeared. The large kitchen knife fell to the ground with a clang, as if everything before was just an illusion. Someone tried to activate the Jade token and was actually teleported out. Zhai Shanshan and the others could not wait to activate the Jade token, afraid that Yun Chuzhou would seek revenge on them. Yun Chuzhou was not too anxious. It was obvious that the Shui Mo had already dissipated. Even if they were lucky enough to survive, it would not cause any harm to them for a while. This fellow picked up the large kitchen knife and took a look. The large kitchen knife could actually split open the stone eggs and even kill the Shui Mo. Could it be the Xingtian godly axe? Yun Chuzhou shook her head. It couldn't be, right? Putting aside its appearance, this big kitchen knife was found in the Qingxian continent. How could the Heaven Punisher axe have come to the Qingxian continent? Yun Chuzhou couldn't figure it out for a moment, so she simply put away the big kitchen knife. Then, she very naturally put away the large pile of axe shell fragments on the ground into her storage ring. Although everyone saw it, they felt that Yun Chuzhou deserved it, so no one said anything. On the contrary, everyone thanked Yun Chuzhou for saving them. Yun Chuzhou saw that the rest of them had different opinions from Zhai Shanshan and the others, so she smiled and said to everyone, "I saved you once, and you saved me just now. Let's call it even." Everyone was not stupid. They knew that Yun Chuzhou said this to make them feel better, and they felt even more grateful. They felt that the contempt they had for Yun Chuzhou in the past was extremely stupid. If it were not for Yun Chuzhou this time, they would definitely have died in this sinkhole. Yun Chuzhou was their savior. Yun Chuzhou saw that there was nothing else, and the sky was getting dark. She said to everyone, "Let's leave this place too. Otherwise, Zhai Shanshan and the others might change the truth. Li Huan, take Zhu Jingtai's body with you. Don't let others make a fuss over his death." Li Huan nodded. He put Zhu Jingtai's body into his storage ring as Yun Chuzhou said. Everyone activated their jade tokens and were teleported out. However, Yun Chuzhou and the other two strangely realized that while everyone else was out, the three of them were actually left behind. Fuck. They must have been tricked. If I find out who is behind this, I'll kill him. Yun Chujio was so angry that she threw her head back and roared. On the other side, after the Xingtian Academy students were sent out, they heard that Zhai Shanshan and the others were twisting black and white, and they immediately retorted angrily. The Divine Axe Square was already in a mess. Zhai Shanshan and the others had made up a story, and the students who came out later on made up another story. For a time, the teachers of Xingtian Academy were all confused. Shuemo. There was actually a Shuemo imprisoned in the Divine Axe crater. However, even though Zhai Shanshan and the others had twisted the truth, what kind of people were Ding Gongsun and the others? How could they not be able to tell the truth from the lies? Very quickly, the lies of Zhai Shanshan and the others were exposed. They were ordered to take care of them first before they were dealt with according to the rules of the academy. At this moment, someone exclaimed, Yun Chujio and the other two actually did not come out. What should we do? At this moment, everyone realized that there was really no trace of Yun Chujio and the other two. What was going on? Dean Gongsun frowned. Putting aside the fact that Yun Chujio was now the direct daughter of the Yi family, just because she saved everyone, she couldn't just stand by and watch as something happened to her. Teacher Pang, bring some people into the sinkhole and save them. Teacher Pang immediately ordered a few people to enter the teleportation array. He never expected that the teleportation array would explode with a bang. A thought appeared in everyone's mind. It was over. Yun Chujio and the other two would never be able to come out again. What's going on? This teleportation array is an ancient array formation. Why did it suddenly explode? The crowd was in an uproar. This ancient array formation was not something that could be repaired just like that. Without 3 to 5 years of time, it would not be able to be repaired. Moreover, it might not be able to be repaired at all. Yun Chujio and the other two might never be able to come out again. The first-grade students pleaded one after another, Dean, you must think of a way. If it wasn't for Yun Chujio and the other two, we would have died inside. That's right, Dean, quickly find someone to repair the teleportation array formation. Although that Shuemo has dissipated, he might not be dead yet. If we delay any longer, Yun Chujio and the others might lose their lives. Dean Gongsun gestured for everyone to calm down. Go back and wait for the news. We will think of a way to rescue Yun Chujio and the others. The students knew that it was useless for them to stay here, so they left the Divine Axe Plaza worriedly. Dean Gongsun immediately got his teacher, who was proficient in array formations, to check the teleportation array. Soon, an old man with a slight hunchback gave Dean Gongsun a look. Dean Gongsun understood and the two of them went to Dean Gongsun's study. Dean, according to common sense, this teleportation array is an ancient array formation and is very difficult to destroy. But this time, it seems to be the self-destruction of the array formation, but I found this. The hunchbacked old man handed Dean Gongsun a small piece of charred fragment. Dean Gongsun took it and looked at it, then said in puzzlement, array leaf? The array formation has been destroyed. Isn't it normal to have fragments of array leaves? Although this array leaf is also drawn with ancient runes, the material of this array leaf is different from the original array leaf. Clearly, someone has tampered with the teleportation array. A fierce look flashed through the hunchbacked old man's eyes, he actually dared to tamper with the ancient teleportation array. What audacity! Dean Gongsun was both angry and angry, he frowned and asked, Elder Zhuang, I still have one more question. The teleportation array is under the Divine Axe statue. This Divine Axe statue requires the combined efforts of me and the 5 vice principals to move it. How did that person do it? The hunchbacked elder shook his head. I am also puzzled. Perhaps he tampered with it after the students entered. Furthermore, that person is clearly extremely proficient in ancient runes. He is probably even more proficient than me in ancient runes. I wonder what that person is hiding in the Sky Punisher Academy for. Elder Zhuang, let's keep this matter a secret for the time being to avoid alerting the enemy. How long will it take for the teleportation array to be repaired? Dean Gongsun's expression turned even colder. If this matter was said to be a plot against Yun Chuzhou and the other two, then if it was said to be a big matter, then that person must have some ulterior motive. Elder Zhuang sighed. The array disk that person placed was extremely powerful, destroying almost half of the teleportation array. We don't know much about ancient runes. Is the repair too big? I'm afraid that it would take at least 10 years to completely repair it. Dean Gongsun also sighed. It seemed that the beloved son of Tian Dao that he had mentioned earlier was indeed not to be trusted. If that Yun Chuzhou was really the beloved son of Tian Dao, she would not have suffered such a disaster. Although the lifespan of a cultivator was very long, 10 years could change many things. Moreover, the situation inside was unknown, and it was hard to say if she would be able to keep her little life. Elder Zhuang, take some people and start repairing the teleportation array. As for the matter of someone sabotaging it, don't mention it again. Just say that it might be an explosion caused by the teleportation array being in disrepair for a long time. I will arrange for people to secretly investigate. After Elder Zhuang agreed, he got up and left the study. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Dean Gongsun sighed. After such a big incident, he could only personally make a trip to the Yi family. On the same day, Dean Gongsun set out to the Yi family. Old Master Yi heard a servant report that Dean Gongsun was here and was very puzzled. Why was this old thing here? Could it be that something had happened to little Nine? When Old Master Yi saw Dean Gongsun's expression, he had an ominous premonition in his heart. Did something happen to little Jill? Dean Gongsun let out a long sigh and recounted what had happened. He did not hide the fact that he had discovered the array leaf. Old friend, don't worry. I will definitely give your Yi family an explanation. Moreover, Yun Chuzhou is blessed with great fortune. She will definitely return safely in the future. Dean Gongsun felt his conscience ache when he said these words. 10 years. He had wasted such a good time. Moreover, what if she did not come out? Old Master Yi sat on the chair without saying a word for a long time. Was this great-granddaughter recognizing him back to test this old heart of his? It had only been more than a month since he had recognized her, yet so many things had actually happened. Although Yun Chuzhou was a little arrogant in the academy, she still did not have the ability to make such a big move to harm her. Old friend, do you have any suspects? Great-grandfather Yes, pupils constricted. He recalled the matter that Yi Bingyu had sent back the last time. Could it be that it was Gu Shi or Lu Shi who was behind this again? Although great-grandfather Yi had doubts in his heart, he could not expose his family's dirty laundry. He could only say, I don't have any leads either. You can start with the formation disk first. You can definitely pull out the mastermind behind this. A faint light flashed in Dean Gongsun's eyes. He did not let go of the slight change in great-grandfather Yes' expression. He sighed in his heart. It seemed that the members of the Yi family did not all welcome Yun Chuzhou. The two of them chatted for a while more before Dean Gongsun stood up and took his leave. Great-grandfather Yi returned to the study room and sat there in a daze for a while. If this continued, the Yi family would be finished sooner or later. Since that person was able to make a move in the Heaven Punisher Academy, it meant that he must be a teacher of the Heaven Punisher Academy. To be able to order that teacher to take risks and harm others, was it Gu Shi or Lu Shi? Old Master Yi took out a voice transmission talisman and said a few words. A moment later, an ordinary-looking man in black entered the room. Master. What orders do you have? The man in black felt his heart beating a little. They were the secret guards of the Yi family's secret guards. They were the Yi family's trump card. Unless the Yi family had an extremely important matter, they would not be used. He Qiong, bring some people to investigate Gushi and Lu Shi's recent actions. Find out if they are related to little Jiu's matter. Old Master Yi briefly recounted the incident where Yun Chujiu was robbed and the Divine Axe Heavenly Pit. He Qiong nodded in agreement. After he left Old Master Ye's study. Soon, the Yi family learned that Yun Chujiu was trapped in the Divine Axe Heavenly Pit. Of course, they did not know anything about the formation leaves. Min Shi and Yi Xiong were naturally very sad. Little Jiu had just died in the beginning and now she was trapped in the Divine Axe Heavenly Pit. It was truly a disaster. When Yi Bingying heard the news, she was overjoyed. She hurriedly went to find Lu Shi. Mother! You're really amazing. Even if that little slut didn't die in there, she would still be out 10 years later. At that time, who would still remember her? Lu Shi's expression was complicated as she said, Bingying, although mother did arrange for someone at Xingtian Academy, that person didn't have the time to make a move. Yi Bingying was stunned. It wasn't arranged by you, mother. Could it be that grandmother sent someone to do it? Lu Shi shook her head. Last time, your grandmother sent someone to intercept and kill Yun Chujiu. Although the old master and your grandfather didn't investigate further after that, your grandmother would have restrained herself. It doesn't seem like what your grandmother did. Since it wasn't you or grandmother, could it be that Yun Chujiu was really unlucky and that's why the array was broken? Ha! It's really retribution. Yi Bingying's expression was so excited that it was slightly distorted. During this period of time, her cultivation had not improved because of the inner demon Yun Chujiu. Now that bitch had received retribution, she could finally cultivate in peace. He Qiong reported the contents of the report to Old Master Yi. Master, according to the information that Old Madam and Eldest Madam received, this matter should have nothing to do with them. However, the First Madam has indeed arranged for manpower in the Heaven Punisher Academy. We will find out the candidate as soon as possible. Great-grandfather Yi frowned. If it wasn't them, could it be that little Jiu had offended someone else? Let's hope that Tian Dao will bless and let little Jiu be safe and sound. A certain Jiu in the Divine Axe Heavenly Pit was routinely cursing. Damn it! If this old lady finds out who set me up, I will definitely kill him. Jin Ji rolled her eyes, that's enough. You're not tired from cursing, but I'm tired from listening to you. I think this time, it shouldn't be the artifact spirit of this heavenly pit. If there was an artifact spirit in this heavenly pit, would Shui Mo be able to do whatever he wanted? I'm just trying to lure out the artifact spirit. After cursing for 2 days, there was still no movement. It seemed that this time, it wasn't the artifact spirit's fault. Someone must be scamming us. It might be someone from the Gushi or Lu Shi. Yun Chujiu sighed and said. At that time, this guy was dreaming. After he left, he would definitely be thanked by everyone and praised by the academy. Furthermore, he would become the top student of the academy. He had even prepared his speech. In the end, he was scammed. One could imagine how depressed this guy was. Shui Wuji walked over and advised, Little Sister Jiu, Jin Ji, don't be too pessimistic. Perhaps the academy will send people to save us. Aya, if they could come down, they would have come down long ago. I reckon that there's something wrong with the teleportation array. Although we won't have to worry about eating and drinking here, I won't be able to see any gigolos in the future. If I can't get out, the gigolos that I've fattened up with great difficulty will be given to other fairies. The corners of Shui Wuji and Jin Ji's eyes twitched. Why did this word sound so awkward? A pretty boy that fattened up. It sounded more like a pig that fattened up. Jin Ji recalled that Feng's face had also turned pale, and Xue Wuji's mind was filled with thoughts of, Pui. Why would this young master think of that damnable woman? For a moment, the three of them did not speak, and the atmosphere was very depressing. All right. Being pessimistic and sad is not going to solve the problem. I don't think we can count on the people outside. The pretty boy and Feng won't know about us for a while. I don't think the people from Xintian Academy will be able to come in any time soon. Let's think of a way to save ourselves. Yun Chujia's self-recovery ability was very strong. Just a moment ago, she was just a withered grass, but now, she was fully recovered. Xue Wuji glanced at her. How do we save ourselves? We were transported here by a teleportation array. That means there's no exit here. TCH. Is there no exit in this world? If there's no door, we can go through the window. If there's no window, we can fucking make a window. I don't believe it. Even if we're inside an egg, we should be able to get out by breaking the eggshell, right? Yun Chujio straightened her back, she said confidently. Chapter 2366, Big Heart. Xue Wuji glanced at her again. Little sister Jiu, although I don't want to hurt you, we can't even find the eggshell now. Are you going to make the ground cold? Or are you going to make the stone wall cold? As the name suggested, the sinkhole was an irregular deep pit. It was surrounded by stone walls, so how could they get out? Yun Chujio pointed at the top. There's no way out from down there, but that doesn't mean there's no way out from up there. Let's climb up and see what's going on up there. Last time, they didn't understand why they had come down because of Xue Mo. Although they could only see stones, they might find something new in the distance. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji's spirits were lifted. Little Jiu's words made sense. There was no harm in going up and taking a look. If they encountered danger, they could just climb down again. Thus, the three of them climbed up the stone wall. Little Jiu, which way should we go? Jin Ji saw that there were rocks that stretched as far as the eye could see. For a moment, she didn't know which way to go. We should go east along the stone wall. If there's danger, we can climb down, Yun Chujio said. However, after saying that, this guy felt that something was wrong. If they went along the stone wall, wouldn't they be walking in a circle? Then, they wouldn't be able to go east or west. They could only go south. However, if they encountered danger, they would have no way to avoid it. Then, the question was, should they go or not? Yun Chujio shared her thoughts. Xue Wuji laughed. Little sister Jiu, we have no other choice anyway. What's there to hesitate about? Let's go. It's better than waiting here aimlessly. Yun Chujio giggled. That's what I meant as well. But after you guys taught me a lesson last time, I've learned to be cautious. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This guy sounded nice, but he had learned to be cautious. This guy was afraid that they would blame her, so he deliberately let Xue Wuji make the decision. This guy was getting more and more shameless. The three of them chatted and laughed as they walked down the south. After walking for an entire day, they still saw rocks of all sizes. Not to mention demon beasts, they didn't even see a single plant. It's really strange. It's lush down there. Why isn't there any grass growing up here? Jin Ji said in puzzlement. Either there's no water source, or there's something terrifying. But according to common sense, since this is the birthplace of the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe, there shouldn't be anything bad here, right? Yun Chujio didn't believe what she said. The previous Xue Mo was a good example. The next day, the three of them still found nothing. On the third day, they still saw rocks. The three of them couldn't help but feel discouraged. Not only did they see rocks, they couldn't even see the edge. Could it be that there was no end to this place? However, there was no way out. They could only continue forward. On the morning of the fourth day, the three of them realized that the sky was a little gloomy, as if it was going to rain. Little Jiu, could it be that the heavenly lightning is going to strike you? Jin Ji asked worriedly. Yun Chuzhou shook her head. These dark clouds don't have any pressure. It should be just ordinary rain. Wu Yun looked at Yun Chuzhou and said, "It's going to rain. Since it's going to rain, let's take a day off today. Come, give us a hand. Let's build an awning. Let's enjoy the rain while we roast meat inside. It feels great just thinking about it. Little Jiu, I've discovered that your greatest strength is your big heart. That's a terrible thing to say. This is called being strong, optimistic, tenacious, and fearless in my optimistic spirit." Chapter 2367, The Rocks Here Will Bloom. Yin Chuzhou and Jin Ji bickered while helping Xue Wuji build a awning. With ready-made wood and tools, a simple awning was quickly built. Yun Chuzhou disliked the rocks in the awning and used a shovel to move them outside. After cleaning up, the three of them set up a bonfire and began to roast meat. At this time, the rain fell pitter-patter. It seemed that it would not stop for a few hours. After the three of them ate the roast meat, Xue Wuji said, "The journey these few days has been very tiring. You two can take a nap. I'll be on guard." Yun Chuzhou and Jin Ji did not stand on ceremony. At night, they were afraid that there would be demonic beasts, so they did not sleep well. It was perfect for catching up on sleep on rainy days. Just when Yun Chuzhou was sleeping soundly, she was woken up by Xue Wuji's surprised voice. "Look!" Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes and was stunned when she saw the scene in front of her. Jin Ji cried out in surprise, "Oh my God! These stones actually blossomed. The originally gray stones actually blossomed into beautiful flowers. Regardless of whether it was large stones or small stones, they all blossomed into beautiful flowers. Only some of the stones at the edge of the awning were still gray because they were not drenched in the rain." Yun Chuzhou recalled that in her previous life, there was a kind of fleshy flower called a raw stone flower. It usually looked like a stone, but when it reached the flowering period, it would bloom. Could it be that these stones were actually plants? Yun Chuzhou thought of this and picked up a stone at the edge. No matter how she looked at it, it was still a stone. She simply took the large kitchen knife and slashed at the stone. The stone actually let out a shrill scream. Its originally hard shell instantly turned into powder. Not only was it a plant, it was actually a living demonic plant. Yun Chuzhou and the other two immediately felt a huge crisis. If these demonic plants did not attack people, it would be fine. But if they attacked people, they would be dead for sure. There were all these demonic plants here. They had nowhere to run. Yun Chuzhou made a prompt decision. No matter what, since they can only bloom with rainwater, they should be afraid of fire. Let's build a bonfire just in case. The three of them built a few bonfires in the awning. Although it was very hot, it was still better than being attacked by the demonic plants. Jin Ji exclaimed again, "Oh my God! Not only can they bloom, they even bear fruit." Yun Chuzhou looked up and saw that some of the stones had already begun to wither and turn into small stones. Indeed, they were bearing fruit. Since they had already borne fruit, they probably wouldn't attack them, right? Soon, many of the stones began to bear fruit. One after another, they heard the sound of small stones falling to the ground. Yun Chuzhou and the other two stared at those stones, afraid that they would suddenly attack. For some reason, Yun Chuzhou thought of the poisonous grass at the bottom of the Heaven Dao cliff. These rocks were definitely not easy to deal with. Otherwise, there would not be any living things on them. Thinking of the Heaven Dao cliff, Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. She took out the small rock given to her by the Heaven Dao cliff and recited it according to the chant, but there was no response. She recited it again, but there was still no response. Fuck. The Tian Dao cliff was such an idiot. They were bragging so much, but now, there was no way to contact it. If the Tian Dao cliff knew, they would probably die of injustice. The small rock would only be effective within 5,000 miles. Yun Chuzhou and the others were more than 5,000 miles away. Seeing that the small rock did not respond, Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to put the small rock away. Small 9. You look. Jin Ji's voice slightly trembling. Chapter 2368, Stone Golems. Yun Chuzhou looked in the direction of Jin Ji's finger and saw that the stones that had already been formed began to gather and bounce before turning into large stones. No wonder there were small stones and large stones here. So that was how they were formed. However, this was not the source of Jin Ji's trembling. Those tall stones actually grew limbs and looked like people who were carved out of stone. The stone men walked towards the awning. Little Joe, what? What are they doing here? Would you believe me if I said that they are here to have a friendly exchange with us? Yun Chuzhou bared her little white teeth and said. Jin Ji stomped her feet angrily. What time is it now? You still have the mood to joke around, what should we do now? Let's wait and see. The three of them stood in the middle of the awning, staring at the stone golems. More than 10 stone golems surrounded the awning, but they seemed to be afraid of the fire. They just stood outside the awning and did not move. Yun Chuzhou was just relieved when one of the stone golems stretched out its huge arm and slapped the awning. The rest of the stone men followed suit and the awning immediately collapsed. Fortunately, Yun Chuzhou and the other two reacted quickly and jumped out from the gap between the stone men. However, the bonfire was extinguished as soon as the rain was poured. Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart. She didn't expect these stone men to have intelligence, which made them even more difficult to deal with. Hey! We are just passing by. We don't want to be enemies with you. Don't come over. Yun Chuzhou shouted at the stone men desperately. The stone golems squeaked as if they were mocking Yun Chuzhou. They chased after Yun Chuzhou and the other two. The three of them looked at each other. It was useless to run. There must be other stone golems somewhere else. They could only attack. The three of them attacked at the same time. Although the stone golems were huge, they were not very agile. Therefore, the three of them could barely deal with them. However, there was one thing that made Jin Ji and Xue Wuji very sullen. Although their attacks could block the stone golems, they could not cause any damage to them. On the other hand, on Yun Chujia's side, a bolt of lightning could chop off the arm of a stone golem. A few bolts of lightning could chop the stone golem into several small stones. Seeing that Xue Wuji and Jin Ji were helpless, Yun Chuzhou decided to bring out the little black bird and Xiao Hanyo. Both of them were fire type, so they were more effective against Yao Ji. As expected, these stone golems were more afraid of fire-type attacks, so they gradually began to retreat. Seeing this, Yun Chuzhou asked Xue Wuji and Jin Ji to build another awning. Then, she lit a bonfire inside. She, Xiao Hanyo, and Xiao Hong were on guard to prevent the stone golems from approaching. As the rain stopped, the small stones on the ground returned to their gray appearance. The hands and feet of the stone golems also shrank back, turning into ordinary large stones. Only then did Yun Chuzhou and the other two collapse onto the ground. They let out a sigh of relief in their hearts. Fortunately, the rain did not continue to fall. Otherwise, if all the stone men from other places gathered here, the three of them would have been exhausted to death. Little Jiu, there are all these stone demonic plants here. Will there be an end? Jin Ji could not help but feel a little discouraged. There will definitely be an end. All living things in the world are mutually reinforcing and counter each other. If there is no end to these stone demonic plants, wouldn't it be heaven-defying? Yun Chujio said until here, a thought flashed through her mind, but it was too fast. Before she could catch it, it slipped away. Chapter 2369, A small flame filled with food. The three of them rested for a while and continued walking forward. In the past, it was fine if they didn't know that these stones were demonic plants. Now, they felt uneasy as they walked, afraid that these demonic plants would suddenly attack them. However, the three of them realized that these demonic plants seemed to only change when it rained. Normally, they were no different from stones, so they were more or less relieved. Little Jiu, have you noticed? It seems to be getting hotter and hotter. Jin Ji said while wiping her sweat. Yun Chujio had a flash of inspiration. She remembered. Didn't I say something before? Look, these rocks are becoming more and more sparse, and the temperature is getting hotter and hotter. I'm afraid there's a volcano in front of us. Jin Ji sat down on the ground. It's over. Even if that volcano is the end, we can't cross it. Xue Wuji looked a little dejected. Yes, if there was a volcano in front of them, they couldn't fly here, and they wouldn't be able to cross it even if they reached the front. Don't be discouraged. Let's go over and take a look first. If it's a volcano formed from fire marrow, they'll get the little flame to collect the fire marrow, and well have a way out. If it's just an ordinary volcano, well just return. Yun Chujio had the fire-repelling pearl, she could pass through, but she couldn't leave Jin Ji and Xue Wuji alone. Jin Ji and Xue Wuji nodded and the three of them continued walking. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. There were almost no strange stones left. Instead, a large desert was in their place. Yun Chujio gave Xue Wuji and Jin Ji a few beads of Guai Chao. Only then did the two of them feel much better. After walking for another day, they could see a mountain range that stretched for miles in the distance. It was dark and did not look like a volcanic eruption. After walking for another 3 days, the three of them finally arrived at the foot of the mountain. The ground was filled with rising heat waves. Fortunately, the three of them were cultivators, or else they would have been roasted. Yun Chujio asked Jin Ji and Xue Wuji to wait a little further away. She walked to the front of the mountain and looked carefully. The situation here was somewhat similar to the situation when she found the small flame. She did not know if there was fire marrow here. When Yun Chujio was knocking around, the small flame flew out of Yun Chujio's right palm with a whoosh and jumped into a stone wall. Yun Chujio was delighted. It seemed like there was a chance. In less than 15 minutes, the small flame jumped out. Without waiting for Yun Chujio to say anything, it jumped into another stone wall. After another 15 minutes, the small flame jumped out again and then jumped into another stone wall. Chapter 2370 was out. Yun Chujio shouted several times, but the little flame acted as if it did not hear her. It continued to act as it wished and ran around, determined to eat up all the fire marrow here. Yun Chujio was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Since it was useless, she could only use her hands. So when the little flame jumped out again, Yun Chujio caught the little flame. Do you know that fire will die for food? If these stones run outside to cause trouble because of you, you will bear the karma and you will never be able to transform into a human again. Perhaps it was because of Yun Chujio's threat, the little flame obediently went into Yun Chujio's right palm. However, Yun Chuzhou could feel the little flame's unwillingness in her spiritual sense. Pooey! What a foodie! Xue Wuji and Jin Ji felt the temperature drop and rushed over. Little Jiu, is there really fire marrow in here? Yun Chuzhou nodded and said, when the temperature of the mountain in front drops a little, we will hurry over. Little Jiu, the fire marrow in this mountain range has been eaten by the little flame. Will it become a gap? Jin Ji asked worriedly. Don't worry. Those rocks are far away from here, and they can only move on rainy days. By the time they react, the fire marrow in the other mountain ranges should have already occupied this place. Another 2 days had passed. Although the mountain was very hot, it was still possible to use spiritual power to protect their bodies. The three of them decided to start moving. When Xue Wuji and Jin Ji's spiritual power could not hold on any longer, Yun Chuzhou took turns carrying them. Although Xue Wuji felt a little embarrassed, he did not care about his face anymore in order to survive. Anyway, this guy was also reckless. It took the three of them 2 days to walk out of the mountain range that was full of bare rocks. Then, they came to a desert. Although the temperature in the desert was very high, to Jin Ji and Xue Wuji, it was already like a fairyland. The three of them walked for another 2 days. Sparse plants began to appear on the ground. The sound of water could be heard from afar. The three of them were invigorated and quickened their steps. Finally, they saw a valley full of vitality. Spiritual plants, trees, and streams. It was extremely cordial to look at. The three of them walked to the edge of the stream and drank a few mouthfuls of water. They suddenly felt refreshed and refreshed. They did not know if it was because of psychological effects, but they felt that the stream water was very sweet. At the same time, Yun Chuzhou and Jin Ji noticed that the sound transmission talisman in their storage ring started to vibrate. The two of them looked at each other and jumped up and down in surprise. The sound transmission talisman had a reaction, which meant that they had already left the Divine Axe heavenly pit. After the two of them were excited, they took out the voice transmission talisman to check. As expected, it was sent by Di Baiming and Enfong. A few days ago, Di Baiming and Enfong had just killed a wave of enemies. Di Baiming sent a voice transmission talisman to Yun Chuzhou and found that no one replied. However, when he remembered that Yun Chuzhou had once told him that they were going to the heavenly pit to conduct a test for 10 days. He was not too anxious. However, after counting the 10 days that had passed, there was still no reply. This made him a little worried. Yun Chuzhou simply told him what had happened. Prince Charming, we have already left the sinkhole. We just don't know where we are. We will tell you when we have confirmed our location. On the other side, Di Baiming and Enfong were surrounded by another wave of enemies. They could only reply briefly before they started fighting again. If it was an ordinary girl who had just escaped death and her beloved simply comforted her and ignored her, she would definitely be furious. However, a certain Jiu had always liked to level up by herself, and she had been trying her best to fulfill her 3-year promise. So, after a short loss, she was revived with full health again. Chapter 2371, Holy Stream. It had to be said that birds of a feather flock together. Jin Ji was also a heartless person. After putting away the voice transmission talisman, she said with a smile, Little Jiu, we can play truant openly. After we have wandered enough, we can go back to the academy. Xue Wuji also echoed from the side, that's right. This time, we narrowly escaped death. We have to travel around the mountains and rivers to heal my wounds. I was actually piggybacked by Little Jiu several times. How embarrassing. Yun Chuzhou was about to speak when she felt someone approaching. The three of them immediately raised their vigilance and looked into the distance. Yun Chuzhou lowered her head and grabbed 2 handfuls of soil. She wiped it on her face and then motioned for Shui Wuji and Jin Ji to wipe the soil on their faces as well. Although Shui Wuji and Jin Ji did not quite understand Yun Chujia's meaning, they still followed her instructions. Two people ran over from afar. One of them shouted angrily while running, "Hey! Stay away from the Fan family's sacred stream." Fan family? Sacred stream? Fortunately, the three of them had drunk water just now and were some distance away from the stream. Otherwise, they would really be caught red-handed. The two of them ran to the front and looked at the three of them unhappily. "How did you get into the back mountain of our Fan family? Don't you know that this is our Fan family's territory?" Yun Chuzhou said in surprise, "Oh my God! This is the back mountain of the Fan family. We are lost. We don't know what happened. We couldn't get out no matter how hard we tried. We almost died in the desert in front of us. Benefactors, it's so good to see you. Please help us get out." Shui Wuji and Jin Ji were used to Yun Chujia's acting skills being online at any time. Therefore, the two of them showed a pleasantly surprised expression and cooperated seamlessly. The two of them looked at each other and one of them said, "Entered by mistake. There are people guarding the back of the mountain. How did you enter by mistake? Tell me, what is your purpose?" Yun Chuzhou looked innocent. "You two have seen it too. Our spiritual power is so low, what can we do? Unless we don't want to live anymore, that's why we are seeking death." "Brotherly, I don't think they're lying. Weren't there lightning and thunder a few days ago? I think they entered by mistake." One of them guessed. The other frowned. "That's possible. What should we do now? Should we hand them over to the higher-ups or let them go? If we're not afraid of polluting the sacred stream, we should just kill them." Yun Chujia's eyes darkened. Kill them? If they dared to make a move, who knew who would die? Brothers, meeting each other is fate. We don't have anything good on us. You too can buy some tea with these spiritual stones. Yun Chuzhou pretended to transfer a portion of the spiritual stones from Shui Wuji and Jin Ji and gave them 50,000 upper-grade spiritual stones each. Naturally, it wouldn't work if it was too much. It would easily trigger their greed, and they might even kill them for their wealth. Since it wouldn't work if it was too little, they might as well not give it to them. After receiving the spirit stones, their attitude softened a little. When they saw the miserable appearance of Yun Chuzhou and the other two, and the clothes they were wearing weren't of any expensive material, they guessed that they only had so many spirit stones on them. Forget it. Since we're in a good mood today, we'll spare you. Come with us, and we'll send you out. One of them curled his lips and said. Yun Chuzhou and the other two naturally thanked him profusely and followed the two out. Yun Chuzhou rejoiced in her heart. Fortunately, the three of them had already changed out of the Xingtian Academy's clothes. Otherwise, it would have been easy to get into trouble. Although she didn't know if this Fan family was the Fan family that Yi Xinhuan had married into, it was very likely that the Fan family was the super-aristocratic family that had such a large backhill. It was better to not provoke them. Chapter 2372, Fan Mingchuan. Yun Chuzhou and the other two followed the two men out. Yun Chuzhou said fawningly, "The fact that the two big brothers are able to work in the Fan family is really enviable. Unlike us, who have low spiritual power and are unable to enter the Fan family." One of them snorted coldly, "Of course. The Fan family is a super-aristocratic family. Trash like you naturally cannot enter." Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. It was indeed the Fan family that Yi Xinhuan married. Yi Xinhuan was capable of snatching her stepsister's fiancé. She was probably not a good person. It was better to leave this place as soon as possible. Yun Chujio saw the entrance to the back of the mountain from afar. Before she could breathe a sigh of relief, she saw a young man walking towards her, followed by 8 followers. Oh no! Why is young Master Mingchuan here? Be more tactful later. If you offend young Master Mingchuan, not only you, but we will all die, do you hear me? The garlic nose said fiercely. Yun Chujio's heart tightened. Young Master Mingchuan. Could it be that Fan Mingchuan who was born from Yi Xian? It was really a narrow road for enemies. Yun Chujio silently sized up Fan Mingchuan a few times. No wonder old Master Yi said that he was highly regarded by the head of the Fan family. He did not look like an ignorant silk pants. However, if that was the case, it would be very difficult to fool him. He might even be charged with breaking into the back of the mountain. If he revealed his identity and was worried that Yi Xinwan would attack him, he would really be in a dilemma. Fan Mingchuan frowned when he saw Yun Chujio and the other 2. The 3 of them looked disheveled and their faces were gray. Moreover, their spiritual power was very low. What was going on? Chen, who are they? This is the forbidden area of the back mountain. How can there be outsiders? Fan Mingchuan asked unhappily with a gloomy face. Young Master Mingchuan, the 2 of us found them when we were patrolling. They said that they accidentally entered the back mountain a few days ago when there was lightning and thunder. Then, they got lost. The garlic nose nodded and bowed. Fan Mingchuan frowned. Everyone within a radius of 100 li knows that this mountain range belongs to our Fan family. It's strictly forbidden to go near it. Why are you guys going near it? Tell us. Fan Mingchuan used his coercion when he spoke. The legs of the garlic nose and Jin Ji felt a little weak, and they almost knelt down. Shui Wuji and Jin Ji were slightly uncomfortable, and Yun Chujio was fine. However, when they saw the garlic nose and Jin Ji, they pretended to tremble slightly. This, young master, we didn't mean to get close to this mountain range. You know, the situation that day was too terrible. We wanted to find a place to hide, but we were too scared. In addition, the sky was dark, so we approached this mountain range in a daze and ran into it in a panic. We wanted to come out, but we chose the wrong direction and walked into the desert. We were almost roasted into dried meat, and just when we returned, we met these 2 benefactors. Yun Chujio made up a lie based on the information they revealed. Fan Mingchuan frowned. You came out of the desert? Yun Chujio nodded. Yes, look, we still have sand on us. Humph. If you didn't come out of the desert, we can let you live. Tie you up and find a place to kill you. Don't dirty the back of the mountain, Fan Mingchuan said coldly. Fuck. For the first time, she made up a story about a hornet's nest. Yun Chujio asked in horror, Young master, you have to let us die. What's wrong with the desert? There's nothing in it. Chapter 2373 was sent to the mine. Fan Mingchuan snorted coldly, it's fine for you guys to enter the desert, but it's extremely hot inside the desert. After you guys came out of the desert and saw the holy water, how could you not drink it? If you secretly drink our Fan family's holy water, kill without mercy. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart, damn it. Your Fan family's holy water. Are you shameless? That was clearly a stream water, how did it become your Fan family's? Although Yun Chujio was angry in her heart. But on the surface, she said aggrievedly, Young master, you really wronged us. Because our spiritual power is low, we have a very ample reserve of resources. In addition, we didn't encounter a single demonic beast in the valley, so we didn't dare to drink the stream water, afraid that something was wrong. As Yun Chujio spoke, she took out 3 large water vats filled with water, proving that she wasn't lying. The garlic nose leaned over and took a sip. Young Master Mingchuan, this is indeed not the taste of our holy water. I was once rewarded with a cup of it, and the taste was comparable to immortal dew. This is just ordinary water. Moreover, when we discovered them, they were still some distance away from the stream, so they probably didn't drink the holy water secretly. Garlic Nose was afraid that if Fan Mingchuan really wanted to kill Yun Chuzhou and the other two, Yun Chuzhou and the other two would jump over the wall and say that they had bribed them, so he tried his best to excuse them. Fan Mingchuan's face was gloomy as he said to the attendant behind him, "These two are not suitable for patrolling in the back mountain. Send them along with these three to the mine. Garlic Nose and the other two immediately knelt on the ground. Young Master Mingchuan, please spare our lives. Young Master Mingchuan, although we accepted their spirit stones, we only dared to accept them after we found out that they didn't drink the holy water secretly. Please spare our lives." Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips in her heart. These two were really stupid. If they did not say that there was still some room for reconciliation, then they had to go or not. Sure enough, Fan Mingchuan did not even look at the two of them. He waved at the guards behind him, indicating for them to take them away. Shui Wuji and Jin Ji stole a glance at Yun Chuzhou. When they saw that Yun Chuzhou did not have any reaction, they did not resist and left the back mountain with the four guards. Yun Chuzhou naturally wanted to escape, but she could not see through the spiritual powers of the four guards. Moreover, this was clearly the Fan family's territory. If they were to use force, there was no chance of victory. She could only take one step at a time. If it really did not work out, she would get Di Biming to send a message to Old Master Yi. Yun Chuzhou was very regretful now. Why did she not think of asking Old Master Yi or Yi Bingyu for the sound transmission talisman? How stupid. Yun Chuzhou originally thought that the mine that Fan Mingchuan mentioned was very far from here. She did not expect to see a mine after leaving the back of the mountain and walking a few dozen miles to the side. There were many guards guarding the entrance of the mine. One of the guards who sent them here said to a small leader, "These two made a mistake. These three trespassed into the back of the mountain. I'll leave them to you." After the guard finished speaking, he left with his men. The small leader did not pay attention to the two people with the garlic nose. Instead, he sized up Yun Chuzhou and Jin Ji. A lustful look flashed across his eyes. Although these two girls' faces were dirty. However, the girls in the mine were either old or ugly. It was rare to meet two beautiful girls. He could find an opportunity to have some fun. The leader had a few thoughts in his mind. Then, he said to a guard, "They are new here. I don't think they know how to mine. Let them go to the canteen to help with the cooking first. We will let them mine with us in 2 days." Chapter 2374, Lighting a fire. The guard agreed and brought Yun Chuzhou and the others to the canteen. As this was a spirit stone mine, one could not use talismans or formation plates to blast the ore when mining. One could only rely on manpower to dig the ore. Therefore, there were many miners in this mine. As there were many people, the canteen was not small. The guard handed Yun Chuzhou and the others over to the canteen manager. After briefly explaining the situation, he turned around and left. The steward of the canteen sized up Yun Chuzhou and the others. "What are your specialties? We don't want useless people in the canteen." Yun Chuzhou raised her claws and said, "The three of us used to burn the fire. We know very well what kind of dishes and how to cook them." The steward of the canteen asked Yun Chuzhou a few questions about burning the fire, and Yun Chuzhou answered them smoothly. The steward was very satisfied. "Not bad. Then the three of you will be responsible for the fire. The 6 stoves on the east side will be your responsibility. If anything goes wrong, humph. Don't worry, we will do our duty." We will do our best to light the fire. Yun Chujio promised repeatedly. This guy said that it was true that many skills did not weigh on one's body. He did not expect that the fire-burning skills would be useful at the critical moment. The steward saw that Yun Chujio was obedient and his expression softened. He looked at the two men and asked, "What do you know?" The two of them looked at each other. They had never cooked before and knew nothing about the affairs of the canteen. The steward curled his lips and said, "Since you don't know anything, then do the physical work. See that pile of wood? Go chop it. I don't keep idle people here." The garlic-nosed duo had obviously heard of the rules of the mine before. They did not dare to have any doubts and obediently agreed. Immediately, the steward brought Yun Chujio and the other two to the canteen and told the little steward who was in charge of the stove. Yun Chujio and the other two started to light the fire. Shui Wuji and Jin Ji had never done such a rough job before. They did not know where to start. Fortunately, Yun Chujio had been a handyman for a period of time, so she was familiar with it. She helped to guide the miners, so she was able to muddle through it. As the miners had exhausted a lot of their physical strength, the meals prepared in the canteen were all meat dishes, and the smell was very fragrant. After the dishes were prepared, special people were sent to deliver and fetch the meals for the miners. After lunch, the people in the canteen began to prepare dinner. They did not stop for even a second. Yun Chujio and the other two did not have the chance to talk to each other alone. They could only communicate with their eyes. Yun Chujio signaled Shui Wuji and Jin Ji to calm down. There were at least 20 guards guarding the door, and their spiritual power was not low. There were many guards patrolling the mine, so it was basically impossible to rush out. Finally, they were done with dinner. The steward looked at Yun Chujio and the other two. There are dormitories behind the canteen. There are 6 men in one room and 4 women in one room. You can stay in whichever room you see fit. Yun Chujio gave the steward a look. "Steward, I have an important matter to ask you. Do you think you could talk in private?" The steward immediately understood. He brought Yun Chujio to a corner and asked arrogantly, "What do you want?" "Steward, this is 10,000 high-grade spirit stones. Do you think you can let the 3 of us live together? The 3 of us are siblings. We can take care of each other if we stay together." Yun Chujio passed the 10,000 high-grade spirit stones to the steward. She pleaded. "Forget it. You guys are quite pitiful. The room at the end is empty. The 3 of you can live there." The steward curled his lips and said. Chapter 2375 Disguises. Yun Chujio said a lot of nice things, and the canteen manager left with a belly full. Yun Chujio brought Jin Ji and Jin Ji to the empty room that the canteen manager mentioned. The conditions were naturally very simple, but at least they did not have to squeeze together with others. It was more convenient to talk. The 3 of them cleaned briefly and then began to discuss the next step of their plan. Jin Ji was just about to speak when Yun Chujio shook her head at her, indicating for the 3 of them to use the voice transmission talisman to communicate. "Little Jiu, what should we do next?" "Inform your excellency." Jin Ji asked. "When we were talking earlier, they seem to have encountered some trouble. I'm afraid they won't be able to escape for a while. Let's see the situation first. If it doesn't work, well, inform them again. They'll just ask Old Master Yi or Yi Bingyu for a voice transmission talisman." "How stupid!" Yun Chujio said in annoyance. Shui Wuji's brows were tightly knitted. "Little sister Jiu, this place is heavily guarded. It's basically impossible to rush out. I'm afraid that there's no other way apart from letting that expressionless Di Biming come and save us. It's not like there's no chance at all. I still have some netherworld powder in my hands. Coincidentally, we're still in the canteen, so if we find an opportunity to enter the food, we'll be able to escape. However, this is the Fan family's territory. I'm afraid that we won't be able to run far before we are captured. Oh right, these are disguising pills. Eat them to avoid trouble in the future. It'll teach you another set of cultivation methods to change your spiritual roots, especially Brother Wuji. It's too easy for people to recognize you as a mutated wind spiritual root. After Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she gave Jin Ji and Xue Wuji half a disguising pill each. This way, they could last for at least 5 days. Xue Wuji and Jin Ji were both smart people. They quickly learned the cultivation method that Yun Chuzhou had taught them to change their spirit roots. Only then did the three of them go to bed to rest. Of course, the ones who went to bed to rest were Yun Chuzhou and Jin Ji. Xue Wuji could only sleep on the ground. Moreover, he had to be on night duty in the first half of the night. The next day, before dawn, the three of them got up and went to the canteen to start the fire. Yun Chuzhou found joy in her misery as she recalled the days when she was in the Linghua sect. She did not expect that she would become a fire-burning servant again in her lifetime. After a busy morning, the three of them had just sat down to eat breakfast when they saw the little leader that they had met at the door the day before walking over unsteadily. The little leader could not help but feel a little disappointed when he saw the appearance of Yun Chuzhou and Jin Ji after their disguises. Originally, after taking the disguising pills, their appearances were very ordinary. In addition, Yun Chuzhou and Jin Ji had deliberately disguised themselves to look ugly, therefore, one could imagine how honorable they were. Although the leader was disappointed, he thought about it. No matter what, these two were little girls. Whether they looked good or not would be the same at night. When the leader thought of this, he asked with a fake smile, "Are you two ladies used to it?" Yun Chuzhou said with a hoarse voice, "It's quite good. As long as we have a meal, it's fine." The leader frowned. Why was his voice so unpleasant? The canteen is the easiest job in this spirit stone mine. If I didn't see that you're new here, you wouldn't have such a good job. If you can make me happy, you can always stay in the canteen. If you're stubborn, humph, then go to the mine to mine. The leader reached out his hand to touch Yun Chuzhou's face. Yun Chuzhou leaned to the side and said submissively, "You must be joking, sir. The three of us have always been stubborn. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fallen to such a state." They were definitely not hired, because if they were hired, they would not be whipped and not dare to resist. Perhaps some of them had made mistakes, just like the garlic nose and the others. Where did the rest come from? When the manager of the mine saw that the canteen had come to deliver the food, he allowed the miners to take a short break for 15 minutes. Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart. They really did not treat these miners as human beings. What was 15 minutes enough for? Fortunately, the main food in the canteen was steamed buns. They only needed to help the miners with the dishes. The miners wolfed down their food, afraid that they wouldn't have any food because of the overtime. Yun Chuzhou noticed that among these miners, there were two very special people. One of them was a middle-aged strong man. His upper body was naked and his back was full of whip marks. It was obvious that he was not obedient. After he received the steamed buns and stewed meat, he did not eat them himself. Instead, he respectfully handed them to an old man. Then, he came over to receive another set. Chapter 2377, A Strange Old Man. The old man was very thin, but his eyes were calm. He did not eat like the others, but instead, he seemed to be strolling leisurely. Yun Chujio looked at the old man and felt that he looked very familiar. She seemed to have seen him somewhere before, but how could she have seen him before? Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about it, the old man raised his head and looked at Yun Chujio as if he had sensed something. Then, the mantu in his hand fell to the ground. In just a moment, the old man picked up the steamed bun and ate it naturally, as if it was just an accident. However, Yun Chujio caught the surprised look in the old man's eyes. Did he know me? Yun Chujio's mind was a mess, but before she could think of anything, the miners had finished their meal. Yun Chujio had to leave with the people from the canteen. Not far away, she heard someone cursing, "You old thing. Everyone else has finished eating, but you eat the slowest. Your work is useless, what is the meaning of living like this?" Yun Chujio turned her head and saw a guard throwing a whip at the old man. The strong man protected the old man in front of him and took the whip head-on. The brawny man turned his head and glared at the guard. The guard was scared and took a few steps back. He cursed a few times and then turned to leave. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and caught up with the people in the canteen. She said with a smile, "Is there something wrong with that brawny man's brain? Why would he take the whip for that old man? Could he be the son of that old man?" People love to gossip regardless of their identity, and the people in the canteen were no exception. One of them said, "That strong man seems to be called the old man's benefactor. I guess the old man has given him favors in the past." Let me tell you, the rest of the people in this mine were all caught and brought in. That old man and that strong man actually requested to be brought in by themselves. Do you think they are sick? What the hell? They requested to be brought in by themselves. Are they stupid? Yun Chujio cooperated and revealed a surprised expression. The person who spoke immediately felt extremely satisfied. He lowered his voice and said, "This is absolutely true. I heard from the guards that the old man and the strong man actually went to the entrance of the mine to beg for food. Naturally, they were brought in." Yun Chujio agreed with a few words. She thought that the old man and the strong man were the ones who requested to be brought in. She thought that they were crying and shouting to be miners. However, it was also true. If that was the case, the people in the mine would suspect that the two of them had some ulterior motive. "Uncle, the three of us were caught because we broke into the back of the mountain." "Why were you caught?" Yun Chujio asked in a low voice. "Sigh. Don't mention it. I really agree with the old saying, when the city gate is on fire, the fish in the pond will be affected. I was originally a guard of the Liu family. The Liu family was a third-class family. Because of some things, they offended the Fan family. In the end, they were wiped out. We guards were captured and brought here to be miners. That's really unfortunate. What about the rest? Most of them were guards of the family that was wiped out by the Fan family. There were also some servants of the Fan family who made mistakes. There were also some who offended the Fan family. What about your original masters?" Yun Chujio continued to ask curiously. That person smiled bitterly. "Little girl, you are really naive. Those old masters were naturally killed. Otherwise, how could they be at ease with us guards? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.